I sent that link to like 40 people. So people are like, what's this? And I'm like, you'll see.
I see the spark, I see your energy overcome the dark. I am a servant, I'm on my knees. There's that your shadow enveloping me. I like the God in you to meet the God in me.
Yeah.
You plus me equals 23.
Well, happy Sunday, everybody. This is a bit of an unusual one. It's not often you get to see me hanging out here on a Sunday night. This is usually my rest and recuperation from a long-ass Friday. But when my guest asked me to do this interview, I jumped at the chance because, hell, I dig the shit out of this guy. But I heard that there were a few other people that were pretty anxious to get to do this interview. So I am definitely honored to be able to sit down tonight and talk with a good friend of mine, Mr. Brendon Daley. Brendon, welcome to the realm. Welcome back to the Iron Realm. It's always a pleasure to have you joining us.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to be here. I wouldn't have it any other way, man. Wouldn't have it any other way, so for sure, definitely a pleasure. There's nobody else that I could think of, when people were asking about the interview. I was like, I denied everything. A couple people, came out from iHeartRadio to, a couple other, people and stuff. And I was like, I already got the people for the job. So it was a pleasure, man.
Well, we had a great conversation earlier today. And I was thinking for about the first half of it that, man, I always do this. We'll talk ahead of time and I'll get all the best stuff. And then when showtime comes, I'm just sort of juggling because I feel weird having to repeat myself, even though nobody else out there has heard it. But
right.
After that first half, and we really kind of started digging down, I was just in shock.
Yeah.
It would have been really hard for me to do this show cold, where
right.
I didn't get to know any of this, because I would have been even more speechless than I usually am. And that's saying something. So this is going to be, I don't even know how to describe this. It's
a tough one, man.
It's not just a hero's journey. This is a warrior's journey. This is when you come to certain truths that your conscience will not let you hold in. Things need to be said. Changes need to be made. Your life has to be altered because of these decisions. And some people can fake it. And I think there's quite a few of them out there that kind of do. But there's that small percentage of people that just don't have it in them to be able to fake it. When they feel their life has to change, there's no question. They change their lives. They make those hard choices. They do those hard things and go against the grain in spite of all of society being against it. And that's really what this story is going to be about. This is absolutely mind-boggling. I've heard many stories over the 6 years that we've been doing this. Lots of tales of hardship. When you stop believing everything you're told and you start to think for yourself, things to get kind of crazy for you. Everything seems to just start collapsing. Those people that you thought would love you for who you are, no matter what, be the friend, foe, family, whatever it is, all of a sudden, based on this one little concept, your relationship's done. And that can be such a mind fuck.
Yeah.
And it starts a domino effect. And pretty soon it just feels like everything in your life has just snowballed to this point where it's out of control. And it could all be traced back to this one simple truth that you just couldn't keep in. And if you were a lesser man, by God, you just got to just shut your mouth, kept your head down, and kept going. But for some of us, that's just not possible. And I think that's kind of the story we're going to hear tonight. So I'm really interested to hear this, Brendon. And this is go ahead. I'm going to
couldn't have been a better intro, man. Like you hit the nail on the head with that for sure.
And this is the story of the rise and the fall.
Yep.
And this isn't the whole story. So I don't want anybody to get this twisted. This is the buildup. This is the calm before the storm. As messed up as this next hour and a half, 2 hours, who knows how long this is liable to go. At the end of this, you're going to realize this is the warm up. This is the calm before the storm. You're going to think, Jesus, did I just hear all that shit that I just heard? You did, but realize what's coming next is what you need to be excited about, because that's what is already giving me goosebumps just thinking about it. And that whole conversation we had earlier, I had, as Flat Earth Head there in chat will tell you, truth bumps that whole time. I could feel this energy. The timing is kismet for this to be happening. And I had every fiber of my being telling me that this is where I needed to be. And I appreciate it again, Brendon, for letting me do this, letting me be a part of this, and let me talk to you tonight, because this is just going to be surreal once the people hear what's been going on.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you lived in Florida and like you're looking out and like you see like a hurricane coming. You know, it hasn't hit yet, but like, you know, like things get a little windy and stuff like that. So you could not have introduced it to a better way. So yeah, man, it's a lot, man. It's a lot to take in, and I'm going to basically put everything out there for my fan base and for the people that follow my group. You know, I'm going to plug it, obviously, the Future of Flat Earth on Facebook. That's where I started. And, but yeah, it's kind of like I'm like looking out at the, you know, watching, like if you were like watching the news and you see like, you know, the hurricane coming in and it's like, it's about to swoop through you, you know, and like, you know, we're about to enter the eye of the storm, basically, you know? So that's basically where I'm standing, at this point now. As we got a production team and a narration team and everybody that's kind of like all coming together at once. It almost seems like it was like just meant to be at this time, you know. I had said before, like my brain, you know, was saying do it, you know. This was, you know, four years ago. And my heart was saying, don't do it. And I listened to my heart, and here we are. Now my heart's like, dude, I told you so, man. And I'm like, yeah, you did, you know? So that's where I stand as far as like that is concerned, you know? So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it really is awesome. It's palpable. I think this energy that you've created. They say energy can't be created or destroyed, but maybe you've just harnessed it. But again, the minute I picked up the phone today, I could feel it. It was coursing through the cell phone air or whatever, but it was truly amazing. But I want to just jump right in this, because so many of these stories kind of start off in a similar way, kind of finding these truths. And I know we're kind of old heads around here, and we've been at this since 2015, 2014, something like that. But I think this particular story, and I know we didn't talk about this earlier, but I knew this was a way that I wanted to go, starts way before then.
Yeah.
Because this is about a mindset. This is about a piece of ourselves that has always known that there's something wrong with the way we were told we need to be living. We could feel it. There was that voice inside our head. It made our lives exponentially more difficult than it needed to be because we were fighting against society and against everybody that we loved and trusted and respected, telling us that we were doing things wrong and we weren't doing it right. Why can't we just do what everybody else does? Just go to school, just fill out the answers, just go along to get along. And that small percentage of us, it's absolutely impossible. What was life like for you growing up as a kid? And we'll just start way back early.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to start, man. I lost my whole family as a child. I had a mother passed away from smoking cigarettes, and my dad passed away from liver cancer or cirrhosis, and my sister died and in a car accident. So basically by the time I was 16-ish, I was on my own. I had to claim myself independent in high school. And so basically I could because I was I had nobody claiming me, I could write my own
excuses, all your notes.
Yeah, to get out of school and stuff like that. I could write myself out of school and stuff, but I ended up graduating. I stuck with it. I even moved to a different state, and I was actually driving from New Hampshire down to Mass, to finish school and stuff. Cause I had an opportunity or a place to live up in New Hampshire. And this is when I'm a young kid, I had bought my own car, and stuff like that. And tragedy was nothing new to me. And I also think that a lot of people that are there's certain words I hate, awake and community, and if I use them, I fucking hate them. But there's certain people, there's a connection between a lot of people that are awake, that something opened our minds up when we were a lot younger, that gave us a doorway, almost like God was hey, I'm gonna put you through this now, but I'm opening up your mind so you can absorb more truth later, so it's almost like a game in a way, you know what I mean? And so I was on my own as a kid, so I had to make it, by myself, working, going to school, trying to figure out the world as it was presented to me. And so when the objective reality was presented to me about what the actual world was, it wasn't hard for me to actually figure it out, whereas in a lot of people who've never been through anything or who have never experienced anything that's I want to say some sort of hardship, they don't want their reality to be changed at all, and for people me, personally, fucking change my reality. You can't. There's nothing that's already happened to me that can't hurt me any more than, you know what I mean. So I was open to a lot of things, and then in 2009, I think it was it Sandy Hook 2009 or 2008? I forget. It was one of those years. And I remember that happening, and I remember I was, staying I had a roommate and stuff like that. We had a big house, really nice house, and things were good, man. Good job, working for we'll say a fiber optic company. I'm not gonna put any labels out there, but I was working for a fiber optic company that most people don't like, and probably pay every month. But I remember Sandy Hook happening, and I was already Building 7, 9/11 type deal. I was already into that. Fuck, they lied about a lot of shit. And then once Sandy Hook happened, I was just I remember crying one night, cause it's hard to make me cry, man, when it comes to shit like that. But I, at first glance, normally I would be like, yeah, right. All right, let me look into this before I like put any emotion into it. They had put so much effort into it that it just broke me, man. And then like, you know, a couple things happened and I looked into it a little more. And I remember my roommate, he was in tears, man. Like we're just like an emotional fucking wreck, you know? And then it didn't take much for me to go, you know, like I saw like a helicopter over the I think it was Adam Lanza, his house. And this was like literally the defining moment where I just gave the fuck up on everything that was being like thrown at me. It wasn't 9/11 did it, but like 9/11 was kind of like the launch pad to the Sandy Hook thing. And I always use Sandy Hook as an example, but it really upsets people. They're like, "Oh, could you know, say that about kids and the parents?" And it's like just look into it, man. It's not hard to figure out that it was all fucking faked. You know, it's not my job to figure that out for you. But I remember crying. I was upset, and then there was like a helicopter flying over the house, and it was like they found the gun inside the trunk at the mother's house. And I'm like, but didn't they kill the kid at the school? That was bulletproof glass and like all this other stuff, you know? And like, so like immediately I was like, no, something's not right about this. And from that moment on, you know, when I saw the length or when I saw how far that they would take it to take either rights away or to just fuck with us in general, I just immediately, that was it. That was it for me. Like people would say, what woke you up? People would say like 9/11. I think 9/11 was like more like the kicker. Like if you were like an old skateboarder or something like that, you remember those like kicker ramps? It was just like, that's all 9/11 was like a kicker ramp for the bullshit to come like after that, you know? And being, you know, having such a tragic childhood and having such like and I don't look for sympathy for any of that shit because I feel blessed no matter what, you know. But like once I looked into Sandy Hook and saw they took it to that level, there was nothing that I wouldn't entertain as like an objective truth at that point. So I'd say I probably was like 27 or 28 at the time of Sandy Hook, around there. And that changed me, man. That changed me when they said like, you know, 22 or 23 kids died. And then you look at all the evidence and you see that it was just all acting and stuff like that. And then there's probably people right now watching that are upsetting, you know, and which is fine, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to get upset at your opinion. All I can say is just look into it. It's not really hard to see that was the turning point for a lot of people. I just think that people are afraid to admit that Sandy Hook was the turning point because of the, you know, because of what it was, you know what I mean? The, you know, mass murdering of so many children,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So that was the turning point in my life. And then like that whole like Mayan 2011, whatever the fuck it was, like when that shit came around, I was like, okay. I'm like, you know, before that I was like, the world's gonna end in 2012 or whatever, you know? But like once I like that Sandy Hook stuff happened, man, I looked into it and there used to be some great videos on it, like great videos, but like I try to look them up now and like, they're just gone. They're fucking gone. You know what I mean? You can't find them. You know what I mean? It's almost like you're looking into like flat earth or anything like that. It's like everything against it and nothing for it, you know? And there used to be some great fucking content, man. Like they had set up like I think it was like a some sort of memorial at a fire station, a firehouse, you know. And my brother, you know, I come from a fireman family, like my brother's a fireman and stuff like that. There was like a tree set up for every victim the night before. The Facebook page was set up the night before and stuff like that. It was just so obvious that it was just like a fraudulent, you know, event. The same people that were acting in that were involved in other, you know, crisis related stuff, and there was a sign saying, crisis actors park over here, and it was just so blatantly obvious that it fucking changed me, man. It changed me, and it set the bar to what would happen, 4 or 5 years down the road. So
since we're on the subject of Sandy Hook and Noah Posner.
It's a tough one. It's a tough topic, man. People don't, even truth seekers, they don't want to talk about it. There's a few, there's a couple people out there that fucking crush Sandy Hook, man. They're not afraid to say it, but there's it's a tough topic, man. Because even there's a lot of truth seekers out there, right? Or Josh, that they don't want to touch it, man. They don't want to touch it because it involves kids dying. You know what I mean? And
well, Alex Jones just got his default judgment from Noah Posner's dad and all that good stuff. Now, this was really interesting, and I saw this, and you'd never take it for anything but the grain of salt that it is. Noah Posner, the child who was supposed to have died in Sandy Hook. If you put a picture of Noah Posner next to a picture of Kyle Rittenhouse, there is an uncanny resemblance. Now, there are some people out there that will say, everybody in Hollywood is an actor that's playing 2, 3, 4, 5 different roles. So I don't know. It's one of those things. There's such a huge age difference that there's different things that could have changed, and it's really kind of hard to do it with that big of a gap. But there is a certain uncanny resemblance between the two, even if it's only coincidental. But it seems like those are pretty rare.
Yeah, and then the challenge, that kind of just taps into the Challenger disaster. So I don't want to get people all in the emotions and in the feels of Sandy Hook, because that is a topic that, like I said, even truth seekers don't even want to touch, and I just don't care. It's so obvious it was a fraudulent crisis, and but if you go to the Challenger disaster, they're all alive. They didn't even bother to change their fucking names, man. You can find all those people, and one was like, oh, that's my twin, it's like, okay, you have a story. Your twin brother, we get it. Your twin brother died. But what about the other 7 or 8 people that were on that, the teacher that's at Syracuse University? They didn't even change their fucking names, man. It's they don't have no respect for the people that can actually think, critically or have any discernment in society, which is probably few and far between. A lot more now since COVID and all that bullshit. But I just find it funny that you see all these same people popping up in Rittenhouse, that whole shit. I was watching the trial just to pick up on some things. It seemed pretty real to me. The prosecutor seemed kind of like a really clown. It did seem somewhat scripted, you know what I mean? But they did a good job with it if they did, you know what I mean? It's a shitty prosecutor and a good lawyer that was just almost the lawyer was acting like the judge the whole fucking time if you were actually watching the trial. And Rittenhouse, I don't know, there's the footage, and that looks like, I'm sorry, to me it looks like somebody fucking shooting somebody with an AR, you know what I mean? It does, and whether that was, that's how deep they go, where they'll actually shoot people to get the story and then put it on there. But Maxwell's trial is about to start, and we're all thinking about Kyle Rittenhouse, who, what the fuck? Ghislaine Maxwell's trial is about to start. Why are we not concerned about that? Right. That is gonna lift the veil on child trafficking to the point where we can't even fucking imagine, man. That is that's it, man. That, what happened to fucking Epstein? What happened to we all know he didn't die. We all know he didn't commit suicide, and then she's gonna magically appear. You know what I mean? We haven't seen a picture of her, a thing of her in custody, anything. And but the trial's about to start. Why isn't nobody talking about that? So it's really I know we're kind of back in time and then kind of coming back, up into like, modern time. But like, it just, none of it's been real, man. None of it's been real. So like, whether it's subjective, like hey, this Kyle Rittenhouse guy, or kid looks like this kid from Sandy, you know what I mean? It's all subjective. And at the end of the day, we just know it's not real. And if they go to those lengths to fake it, it's just, I think they're just one step ahead of all of us, even no matter how much of a truth seeker you are or whatever, and I think they're just one step ahead. So
yeah, and we might have to end up bouncing around a little bit along the timeline here, and then I think that's okay, because this is really sort of phase one was, here's what happened to me to kind of get me to where I can look at things with eyes that are a little more open than they were the day before.
Exactly. Yep.
Not that I'm awake, but by God, I'm waking up.
Yep.
And that's some pretty important things. But the way that waking up, the effect that can have on your life and those around you. So before you found Sandy Hook, or before you found this idea that maybe the Earth isn't a spinny space ball, you were living life. You were doing all the things, well, maybe not all the things, but you were doing a majority of the things that most people think that, men our age are supposed to do, right? You find a woman, you fall in love, you get married, you settle down. And I can imagine that coming across these things from the man that she met versus the man that has suddenly now this heightened state of discernment where he's questioning everything. He doesn't want to just let every little thing that he hears be passed along to his family. He has children to protect. He has a wife to protect and a home to protect. And part of that comes down to the information that kind of comes in. So describe to me a little bit about finding this woman and the process of that relationship of you waking up and having to bring her along, or sort of, I don't know, drag her along, or just leave without her. Tell me, how is that process? How did she accept you waking up like this?
That was the rise, man. Like, and for the people that are watching right now, this is the beginning of the production for the Rise and Fall. And it's not about, like we spoke earlier, like we're not going to end on a bad note. Like it's not going to, but it will show the effects. Like you said, I had met my wife online, and even like stuff like with this, like, I don't know what the hell is real anymore. You know what I mean? But like I had met her online, and she was not from this country, and she came here and we got married, and it was about 2000. It was late 2014, going into early 2015, and she got pregnant with our first child. And this was like, I'm not gonna describe her as like the woman of my dreams or anything like that. This was my wife. I loved her. I would protect her. I would die for her. Like I would do anything for her. And then once, I remember like she called me and she couldn't wait to tell me like that she was pregnant, that she actually had to call me and tell me over the phone instead of like making up some like cool way to tell me, you know what I mean? Like, or like surprising me with like the thing or like whatever, you know what I mean? Right. She just called me, and I just remember leaving like work right away. And I remember like she was at the kitchen sink, and I remember like opening up the door and just like falling on my knees at her belly and just like kissing her belly, like my baby's inside there. This is my baby, And so like I wasn't like, the shape of the earth and all that other stuff like really hadn't come into play. But like a month later, I started, letting her kind of sleep in the bed alone, like giving her a space, like so she could like, she started, developing a baby, a child, so like I gave her like queen size bed or queen size bed. All right, I'll sit in the other room for some night, not feeling, whatever. And or if like I was playing video games or something and I didn't want to wake her up, I didn't want to bother her, because she was putting in all the work. Like us guys, we're like all the women out there, God bless you.
Mm-hmm.
You do it all. We're just here to, take the bullets and fight the dragons, and but big props to all the females out there. There's nothing that they can do. Well, there's absolutely, we can't do anything that they can do, plain and simple, and so there would be nights where I would go into the spare bedroom and sleep, and I woke up at like 4:00 in the morning, and I remember rolling over, to my phone just to check the time, and like, you tap your phone, you check it, you're like, oh, what's this? Oh, I get some notifications, I'm not cool at this point. Nobody knows who the fuck I am, you know what I mean? And I see like one of my friends had posted a video about like flat Earth, and I was like, the fuck? I'm like, flat Earth. I'm like, fuck it, I'll take a look, like whatever. Like everything else has been fake. Like why wouldn't they lie about that? Like it's kind of weird that we're on a spinning testicle anyways, like a water testicle is just like flying through space and shit. That kind of always like kind of bothered me in a way, but I never entertained it, and then I started to look into it, and this is like, I mean, there was like no flat Earth. Like this was like the early like
5 people, 5 creators on YouTube that you can find.
There was like
flat
5
Earth stuff.
creators on YouTube, or that had any type of like clout, or 4, there was like Dubay just got started, Sargent just got started, the guy, I'm sorry for mistaking, the gentleman that just passed away allegedly, I don't know, I don't want to disrespect his family in any way. Rob Skiba. I love Rob Skiba, man, because he always promoted, Christ and like Jesus and stuff like that. And that's, like, I'm not against anybody who's against that, or I'm not for people who are, like, I'm not like, but I loved how he shared his, his passion with Christ and stuff, and like stuff like that. So like there was the Rob Skibas, the Dubays, the Sargents, and there maybe 1 or 2 other, people that actually had a voice in the community. And I'm thinking like, fuck, I'm like, these people like just realized that the earth was flat. And, so I watched like documentary after documentary, and then I started looking into shit and start doing my own experiments, stuff like that. But it wasn't hard for me to objectively go, fuck, they lied about the earth, man. Like it literally was overnight, it like where like it became, like I got to look into this, but I believe it already. You know what I mean? So I kind of already had my mindset once I started seeing like, the putrid light of the moon, how it's warmer in the shade, and all these other things that made sense. Like I'm coming from like a, like Ancient Aliens, like History Channel style life, like the moon's a fucking alien base,
right,
type shit. And it's just, none of it made sense to me, and,
but it made more sense than it just being a rock up in space where nothing's happening.
Exactly.
I would rather believe it's a moon base than it's just a big chunk of rock that got knocked off the earth once upon a time.
Exactly. It just stays there. There's no parallax. It just stays in, and it's like, it doesn't change at all, not even by a fucking inch, and NASA was saying all these things about when they landed on it, that it echoed for like, so I'm like believing in like a lot of mainstream stuff at the time. But then once it was presented to me, the moon was always gone. I was always observing it, looking at it. And before like flat Earth was like introduced to me, the Tycho crater, which I believe is like 80. I listen, I could be completely wrong, but it's like 82 kilometers in circumference or something like that. And regardless, triple quadruple that. It doesn't matter. 240,000 miles away or 239,000 miles away, you don't see something that small. It's just, that's like seeing an ant from 100 yards away. And so like, I'm going in my head, I'm going, the moons, something's not right with the moons. It's just like, it's fucked up. But then once like flat earth, one of these other words like community and everything that I fucking hate, the model of flat earth was put in front of me. I go, oh, that makes sense. That's why it's close. The sun is close. They're not 400 times apart and 400 times exactly the same size in difference. It's all biblical. It's all, you know what I mean? It's all like, you know, it's all close. It's all here. We're all like enclosed in some sort of system. And it wasn't hard, you know, and then I started, you know, I bought the P900. Then, you know, I'm going to give a shout out to Daryl Marble. If you're watching, man, what's up, brother?
What up, D?
Love you. Yeah, what up, D? I haven't talked to you in a minute, but me and Daryl, we talked for months and months and months and months. This is before his, you know, his flight level experiment and stuff. And before he blew up just based off of like, you know, just doing an experiment, you know? And that morning he called me and he goes, Brendon, he's like, check the news, man. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what happened? He's like, I'm over everything. You know, I'm all over everything for the flight level experiment. I'm like, really, dude? I'm like, you serious? And I was like, you first? I was like, I was trying to go first, man. You know what I mean? But he fucking blew up, man. And we had been, it had to have been like 6, 7, 8 months, man. I can't put like an actual number on it, but we would meet up. And I remember one time, like I was talking with Daryl and my wife was in the background and Daryl was like, hey, he's like, and he like called my wife over and he's like, your husband's a smart man, you know? And I was like, you know, I was proud, man. Yeah, I was proud of that, you know, because like Daryl's like a smart kid, man. And like he's like the furthest thing from a fucking shill that you could possibly have out there in the flat earth, you know, world or in the, you know, so like seeing like him thrive like that was awesome when he blew up like that. You know, he took a lot of fucking heat for that, took a lot of crap for that. And, you know, so at this time, my wife gets pregnant, you know, she's about to have a baby. I tell her, I'm like, hey, listen, there's something I got to talk to you about. You know, I'm like, the earth isn't what they said it is, you know, and she ended up buying me a P900 for either Christmas or my birthday. I forget. It was like 2014, 2015 Christmas. And I started running these like these was like serious, like really far, like angular, captures on the P900. And I went to Rye Beach in New Hampshire and I got Cape Cod from sea level, give or take 5 feet, or, you know, 5, you know, I'm almost 6 feet tall. So I'm like 5'10", just a little under 5'10". And I got Cape Cod, and this is in like 2015. And I got Cape Cod from Rye Beach, New Hampshire. And we're talking well over 100 miles. And I go, it was at that point, I'm like, I already kind of knew it. I actually knew it, but I was like, fuck, man. I'm like, there's no way I'm filming Cape Cod from fucking Rye Beach, New Hampshire. You know, because if you look at Massachusetts, it's got like a nose that kind of comes up like this. You know what I mean? That comes off the shore. In Provincetown is like right at the tip. And then if you go across the ocean there, you end up in Rye Beach, New Hampshire. And yeah, I think it was like 120, 130 miles or something like that. And it was straight across, and I got the lights. And it was at that point, like I almost like dropped the camera. I was like, shit. I'm like, and I went back to my wife and I was like, I don't want to stress you out. You know, I know you're pregnant, but you know, the earth is flat. You know, it's definitely not what they say it is, you know. And I did the measurements, you know, 7.98 inches squared times a mile makes, you know, what I was looking at well over 10,000 feet below curvature, you know. And I'm filming this. This isn't like you know, an upside down, you know, mirage or anything like that. And so, you know, I had this wife at the time. She's actually an illegal immigrant at the time, you know, and but we were doing everything legally because she came here legally. We got married when she was here legally, you know. So once her visa expired, she was in like kind of like a loophole or a gray area of immigration. Like people think like, oh, you marry an American, you become an American right away. It's like, no, that's not how it works. For anybody that thinks that, that's not how it works. You still have to go through the same exact process. The only thing that's different is you're guaranteed your citizenship, but it still takes 4 to 5, 6, 7 years, you know, for it to actually happen. And so like we end up having a child, then we end up having a second child, and she's all on board, man. She knows like, you know, vaccinations, you know. My kids have never even been to the doctor for an ear infection, you know, like awesome. It was a battle. It was a battle at first. You know, she's coming from a third world country where vaccines and like stuff is like where they really look and like save lives and stuff like that. And so there was like the first kid, there was a big battle. I had to show her a lot of evidence and a lot of, you know, research and studies that, you know, some 12, 13, 14 years long, you know, from 97 to 2012, you know, blah, 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 you know, and I finally convinced her not to do it. Or, you know, so we're on the same ground. And currently have 3 children right now, separated from my wife. But out of 9 years of parenting, if you add in all my children's, you know, years of life, you know, they're obviously it's not been 9 years, but there's been, you know, I got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, you know.
Cumulative. Yeah,
cumulative, exactly. And not even a fucking ear infection, man. You know what I mean? Fevers, yeah. Like, he gets fever, okay, cool. Build up that immunity, bro. Yep. You know what I mean? Or a little girl, you know. And so I when I going back to when I, you know, came up to that realization, like, oh fuck, the earth is definitely not what they say it is. I would go out onto my porch, which was like a 3rd story, it was like an apartment on the 3rd story, like, or the 3rd floor, whatever, however you want to put it. And every morning I would go out there, and at the time I smoked cigarettes and drank coffee, and like that was just like, I'd wake up, I'd make my coffee, go out there, smoke a cigarette and whatnot, and I would just think. And I had already made up my mind, but like I'm thinking to myself, you know, I'm starting to find these groups on Facebook and stuff, and I'm going, what can I do? I have to fight this battle. There's no way we can let them get away with this sort of lie. You know, I have to fight. Like, like to me, the people that were just like, oh, you know, like that I would meet, you know, that not Daryl Marbles, not people that were like, just people that were just involved in like the fucking community. I hate that word, but the people that were just like involved in like truth. Like, why aren't you doing anything? Why are you just commenting on Facebook groups? What are you doing about it? It bothered me that nobody was fighting back. And so I started the Future of Flat Earth. And then the website came up. And then, you know, I mean, we were getting like, you know, 100 requests a day to join the group and stuff. And it just had blown up. But I was alone. Like as like the only admin. I had a couple moderators. This group is like just exploding, and I would take on, because I would add like hundreds of people to the group, and then they would like hundreds would leave, you know what I mean? But I would take them on like as like a fight almost, like you're gonna see objective reality. I'm gonna fucking put it in front of your face, and I hope to just, if there's another one of me that can come out of this, then my work is done, you know. But I would fight. I was alone. I would fight constantly every day. Not argue, but like just present the reality objectively to people, and watching alone, like I just felt so alone. But at the same time, like getting all these like friend requests on my Facebook page, on my personal one, and that blew up to like I couldn't get anymore. Like there was like followers at that point. I'm like, it was like I'm talking like 6, 7, 8,000 people just following my personal page, and I'm like, is this what you get for like fighting? Like it actually like caring? I'm like, why are we not all doing this? And I just I had battled addictions, in my earlier, 20s and stuff like that. And I had battled, trauma and shit like that. So like, I'm not hiding from that. And I'm not like keeping that as a secret from anybody. But once I had my family, I was still deep into the truth movement. And I had such a large following, and I decided to do the first documentary, which was like a complete success, to the point where I forget what that fucking guy's name is. Mick something. He's like he does like the flatter. He's like against like I forget,
Mick
like
South,
Mick
like East, Mick Least, something like that.
Yeah,
I think I know what you're
that.
talking
Like,
about. I think I know who you're talking
something
about.
like that. It's one of that dude there. Like, I'm sure somebody in the comments will fucking bring him up, but or tag him or whatever. But he like commented on the documentary, and he was like, "Well, from that height, blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "No, from that height, you wouldn't see, the distance that you're seeing, and I started noticing all these like magical things like happening in my life that were blessings but also curses at the same time. Like there was a lot of people that were relying on me to be their way, their beacon of light, as something we were kind of talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife had said to me, she's like, don't ever give up. You're like a lighthouse. You're a beacon of light, to people that don't have hope. That people that are lost in finding out this truth. That you're a leader to these people, and that like just made me feel like so strong. You know what I mean? Like knowing that my wife like said that to me. And I like. I'll never forget her saying that. And it, like, I didn't even really kind of grasp the amount of people that I had woken up, and the amount of people that I had brought to this group, and the amount of people that I had, on my personal page, and the amount of people that I just, brought God into their life, that a lot of them never, like, there's a lot of people that never even knew God until they were woken up and to the plane that they live on. And when my wife said that to me, it gave me strength. Like I felt like I was Superman. I was like, I'm never gonna stop fighting for this. I don't care if it kills me, like whatever. And you had said something tonight, and I'm gonna let you say the quote about the beacon of light.
And I, as much as I'd love to do it, I do want to just put a bit of a pin in this right here, right now. We're just at about this first hour mark, and I just wanted to remind everybody we are talking to Brendon Daley. He is the founder of the Future Flat Earth, and he is a survivor. No other way to say it. And the attitude that he has managed to maintain, not just reacquire, but maintain throughout this whole thing, is admirable. And that doesn't even begin to describe it. One of the most important things, Awesome Austin over there on the Mellow Dome is trying to start a little, like a monthly series, breaking the chains of addiction. And I think it's so important for so many of us who are starting this process of trying to open their eyes a little bit and start the process of waking up. So many of us deal with those demons and have had to overcome these addictions. And I think that that's such a key component for a lot of us, to be able to realize that our best thinking, the best shot that we could give at life, got us addicted and all fucked up in the head. And we have to admit that, well, shit, my best shot wasn't good enough. So what can I do different? How can I improve this? How can I make myself better so that my best is good enough? And I'm not here just fucking up my life the same way every fucking day. Yep. Maybe I'll learn from my mistakes. And you hit rock bottom. And that's when you realize, well, shit, I got nothing left. I'll just rebuild this whole sumbitch from the ground up from scratch. And you build that foundation good and strong where it's not included with all this addiction and drama and bullshit.
Yep.
What was your drug of choice, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, I was, like, fuck, like anything.
Me too. Me too. Yeah, whatever.
I never heroin or anything. Like, I didn't get into anything like that hard
heroin.
stuff.
Only one I didn't get into was heroin.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you hear snoring right now, it's my Rottweiler in the background. It's not me. He's passed out on the couch. But I never got into anything like that. But when I was 16, I was prescribed like Adderall and stuff like that, and that got into like, and like a lot of people can relate to this. Like when you prescribe those type of drugs, you're basically giving like meth in a pill. You know what I mean? So like there was always the hardships of, like people who go through a tragic childhood or whatever, they're gonna find some sort of like escape, you know what I mean? And I fell for it, man. Like I needed those escapes, and it led to alcoholism, it just bad life choices, and they'll say like, oh, stupid flat earther, he's fucking drunk, whatever, it's like, no, it's like, you don't understand. Like you can be smart, you can be an intelligent person, you can have, everything in your hands, but also have to fight the battles that a lot of people don't have to fight, and I got to the first documentary we filmed, and I was good in life. I was, I hadn't been using or anything like that, or, like couple beers a night, you know what I mean? When I got home from work type deal, and the pressure of the following that I had built up, and it kind of like put like I was almost like kindling to a fire, it just started up that pressure that I had as a child, and started up like, and so now I'm like facing, marriage, children, this massive following of people, and like a fight for my life, and not just my life. I was fighting for all of us, like all our lives, like everybody needs to know the truth of where they live, and everybody deserves to know the lies, and it got really bad when I decided to go to Central America, to the murder capital of the world, and film the second documentary. And I got there, and I'm naturally probably a 225 to 230 pound man, and I got there, I started filming, I'm doing lives and this, I'm like all in it. I didn't recognize my stress levels. Like I wasn't like identifying with the damage that I was doing to my own body. And so I was there for a while. I basically lived there, and I was in a very dangerous place. I didn't bring my kids into any danger. So if like people like trying to say like, oh, you brought your kids to like murder capital, no, that's not what happened. The whole point of me going there was to go out into the Caribbean, eventually, and because there's a lot of things. So like where I was just outside of San Pedro Sula, which is a city called Puerto Cortez, which is a harbor which has a lot of things that you can film very far out, whether it be like oil liners or, islands and stuff like that. And then, so I got there, and I think one of the first things I did was do a show with you guys. I remember getting into a bed and getting on to Iron Realm Media and being like, I made it here. I'm safe, guys. I'm going to do my best while I'm here, and I started filming, and I ended up at the pyramids, Copan outside of Guatemala. I took a bunch of stuff home from that. I remember showing up there. I wasn't in the Caribbean yet, where I got the hard evidence of that I was looking for. But there was like, as soon as I got to Copan, there was people like coming up to me like, "Oh, you need a tour, you need a tour, you need a tour." And I'm like, listen, man, all the fucking pyramids over there, I don't need a fucking tour, man. I just want to go. I'll figure it out when I walk over there. They have like wild parrots and shit. It's really cool, man. Like really cool experience. And so like they just kept on coming at me, like, because when you show up there, it's like they see they recognize you as an American, whether you're black, white. They fucking know. You know what I mean? They know you're an American. And my wife at the time was going, just like, let him. I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm going to do experiments and test this shit out. I don't need to be guided around like, oh, this pyramid was, this is the, blah, blah, blah. I didn't need any of that shit, So this dude was just like fighting me, like to go in and give me the tour, like to obviously to make money. And I go, okay, listen, man, can we agree on something that the Mayans were far ahead of us technologically, mathematically? I think their calendar was like 10 thousandths of a day more accurate than our calendar is today, or something like that. We use their calendar, for so long to predict eclipses and all that stuff, whatever. And I go, this is how I got the guy off my back. I go, like, you agree that they were smarter than us, right? And they were way ahead of us as far as like, everything like that I just spoke on. And he's like, yeah. And I go, you understand that they knew the earth was flat? And he's like, well, yeah, I'm not really sure about that, man. And I'm like, no, that's what they believed. Like 100%, like you can see that they have a flat earth. Like that's what they believed, and then, like, it got the guy off my ass, dude, but like, it was just funny that like the one thing I'm there for, this guy just like, as soon as he like heard that term, he just bounced. Like he didn't like, he's like, yeah, this kid's crazy, you know what I mean? Like whatever. And then we started, me and my wife started going around the pyramids and stuff like that. You had to walk down like a trail, go through like some military, like it's really, really, really like it's kind of nerve wracking and like energetic at the same time. It's a very, very cool experience. But it was just funny that like the earth got that guy off my ass, so I could just like kind of like just go and explore myself, and then I started noticing people following me around. Like they would like be up like on top of pyramids, like workers, people that worked there and stuff, to see if we're like stealing, like taking things or whatever. Like, because I think everybody goes there, gets a tour guide, and because they fall for the trap, you know what I mean? I'm not falling for that shit, bro. Like, I'm here to fucking film shit. I don't need you to tell me about nothing. I know enough about this place already. I researched it before I got here. I can find my way to the fucking big giant fucking pieces of rock that is sticking up in the air about a half mile away. Like, I got it, and so like, yeah, so whatever, I spent the day there. Got attacked by a banana spider. It was a pretty eventful day. Got some really good footage. There were definitely smaller people back then, because when you go inside the pyramids, I mean, unless they just like to duck down a lot, they're like really like, I'm just about 5'10", and so they're, I mean, these caves, oh geez, I want to say they're around like 5'7". Like that's their max height. So like, you're walking around like your head's down like all the time, and once you go inside of them. And I did a live video, and I had the P900 set up, and then I had my wife holding a live on my iPhone from behind me, and I'm at the top of the city's like pyramid, capital, the pyramid of the whatever, the Capitol pyramid, we'll just call it that. And I finished the P900 footage, and it was kind of like a production thing I was doing where I finished the production, and I was going to kind of spin it into using the live and using the P900 footage. And later on that night, somebody had hit me up, and they're like, wow, you're really skinny, man. And I was like, really? He was like, you think so? I'm like, well, I lost a lot of weight. And they're like, yeah, man, like you look like you lost a lot of weight, man. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I haven't weighed myself in a long time, And I went and stepped on a scale, and I had lost about 35, 40 pounds, man. And I never even noticed it, and it was just something that somebody had said to me, and I had realized that the toll that dedicating my life to waking people up had not only brought back, alcohol addiction, like I wasn't eating properly, and I'm like at the gym type of dude every day. And I completed my tasks out there, but it wasn't until that point at those pyramids when somebody had, called me and said that, like, man, you lost a lot of weight. Like that really like hit me. And I was like, I didn't realize it until I actually weighed myself, that I was so caught up in the lifestyle of trying to wake people up that I had deteriorated myself, muscle mass, just my thoughts, my mind, everything. I didn't realize that I was drinking every day. I didn't realize that I was, what I mean? It just was just my life, and flat earth and the truth movement had completely destroyed me. So,
and that's the way it works. I mean, the toll that it can take, because it's not as though you were down there in South America and you were just flat smacking people. You were down there with gang members. It is the murder capital of the world.
Yeah.
And
non-war zone. Yeah. Non-war zone, murder capital of the world.
But not just
carrying around $1,000 worth of equipment, more than that, actually, you know what I mean? Like not giving a fuck, not even giving one fuck at all. I did not care. I didn't care. I wasn't afraid. And I remember that the house I was staying in was like a compound, and the person's house I was at, this may sound chilly, but it was, family of my wife, but like somebody that worked for the government of the city that I was in. And they had like this like barbed wire fence and like a gate like that opens up, and like you have to leave the premises, And the first time I left, I had said, hey, I'm gonna walk down to the beach and get some shots, because it was like there was a good moon that night, I believe. I think I got 2 full moons when I was there. I got 2 full moons when I was there. And that night was going to be a good night, clear skies and all that stuff. And she's like, the whole family's like, you sure you want to do this? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, why? They're like, it's pretty dangerous for you to be walking around with all that camera equipment. Like people get shot for, a cigarette out here. You know what I mean? Like, you're walking around carrying around, well over $1,000 worth of equipment, from the tripod to the camera to the lenses to the SD cards to the just my wallet alone, whatever, and yeah, I had no fear, man. God put a bubble around me, and I did not give one shit about anything except for getting the truth out there.
That's not.
And
Can I stop you right there? Because I know that's
sure.
bullshit. I'm going to call you out on it right now because I know it's bullshit. There's a lot more that you cared about than just getting the truth out there, because one of the things that was most impressed upon me, having spoken to you when you were there, was your service to the orphans. Being the murder capital of the world, you can imagine that leaves a lot of children without parents, or with one parent, or nobody at all. And the service, the dedication that you gave to those kids is what really affected me. So I know it's not just about spreading truth for you. This is an act of service. This isn't truth or flat earth taking a toll on you. This is you sacrificing, not just for truth and flat earth, for humans, for little children, the weakest amongst us, to the people that can't defend themselves, to the gangbangers out there killing motherfuckers like it's going out of style. And it takes not just courage, but that intestinal fortitude, which I think is a little bit different than courage, because you've got to be able to just swallow that shit and do it.
Yeah, it was more brave. I like to separate like bravery from courage, because like courage, the consequences that could lead to your acts. Like bravery is like you just do it, and and
consequences be damned.
Yeah, like I just did it, and before I went out to the islands, I had set up so there was a bunch of people that had missing limbs, and there was one even down to a lady that just needed a pair of eyeglasses, but there was one girl, and I got it all in footage and stuff like that, and she got meningitis right after a vaccine for meningitis, and she was crippled in a wheelchair, and all she could do was smile. She couldn't talk. Her eyes were like crooked, and her hands were like really tightened up, and like everything was just like deformed on her, and she had gotten a wheelchair from the city. The actual Puerto Cortez, I believe, paid for her wheelchair, and I went around to all their homes and stuff, and I was filming it. I didn't like filming it because like I don't like, you see a lot of these YouTubers and stuff, and they like, oh, I'm doing this for that person, this for that person. This is some fucking real shit, man. We're well beyond anything you'd see on fucking YouTube, man. Like this is some serious shit. And I had got to her. She was like the last person that before the orphanage. I had gone to the orphanage. That was an entirely different venture, but there were specific people that I went to individually and brought these big heavy like 50-pound baskets, and they were filled with toiletries, cosmetics, just food, you name it. I mean, these things were like I was like carrying these baskets like they were heavy. And when I went to the orphanage, I got to go into the classroom with all the kids and stuff like that. And I asked the kids, I'm like, what's all your favorite subjects? And they all said science. And I was like, I'm here in the name of science. And they're like, well, what are you here for? And I was like, listen, kids, just stay in school. I didn't want to go there, man. Like I'm the one that will throw that in your face, like right away. But like these kids, they didn't need to hear that. You know what I mean? All they needed to do was get through the next day. But I brought them like ice cream, cereal, gallons and gallons and gallons of milk, and just, I mean, so much stuff. And we had like it was probably like 10 feet of table of it just laid out, on the table for the orphanage and stuff like that. So like I didn't, when I decided to go there, I went there with the impression of I need to help. I need to like dedicate my resources, you know. And it probably was what could have been maybe, you know, a couple $1,000 adventure to film some islands in the Caribbean and get some flat earth stuff, make a cool documentary, turned into probably, you know, a $12,000 to $13,000 humanitarian effort, you know. And I do have that all on film, and I want to lead back to the girl with meningitis, because that was the one that hit the hardest. And because she couldn't stop smiling at me, you know, and she couldn't talk. And I remember saying to the father, who was so generous, I mean, he had like 10 coconuts outside of his house, and he had this stick, and he's like this, you know, it's like a stick with like a Y at the end of it, and you ram it into the coconut and then catch it. And there was like this one tree that had like 4 or 5 coconuts in it, and like this is what they survive on, you know. And he's like, you know, he's like, come outside. He's like, come on. And he's like, you know, rapido. He's like, let's go get coconut, you know, like coco, they call it, I think. Coco is what would be coconut in Spanish. And he's like, yeah, he's like trying to show me. I was like, I got it, man. Ran that thing in there. You know, so I fucking nailed it out. I caught the coconut, you know, first try, you know, like nailing a coconut out of a tree. And he starts nailing the thing with the machete, and then he like separates it and he dispersed it among, and then next thing you know, like all these people from the village are like coming and like seeing this one white person with a red beard. Like it's just not something they see, you know. And I got that everywhere I went down there, whether I was in the cities or in the poor parts or in the dangerous parts. It was constant, like locked eyes, like we're not going to see many of those guys in my lifetime, you know. And so I thought it was cool. I didn't really take any offense to it or anything like that. And for this guy to share one of his coconuts with a daughter that is literally suffering from meningitis, their toilet was a 2-gallon bucket with a fucking PVC pipe that just went outside to the backyard. That was their toilet. You know what I mean? There was no flushing system. There was no sewer, you know. That girl had moved me so much, you know, not more than the orphanage, more than the people that I saw with limbs that were lost, more than I saw people that needed a pair of glasses. That girl had put a place in my heart that, you know, I'll never forget. And I remember telling him, I go, when I eventually film this documentary, I go, I'm going to set up some sort of GoFundMe, and anything that comes to it is going to go to your daughter, getting her a better ramp set up. Everything was just going to go to her. You know what I mean? Whether it was $500 or if it was $10,000, every fucking dime was going to go to this little girl that was in a wheelchair. And I, you know, I could literally fucking cry, like thinking about her, you know, and she's been in my mind ever since 2018, you know, and now that I decided to, you know, film this actually film the documentary and be open about what actually happened in my life from rising up and then falling down, like it's still going to be dedicated to her. There will be a fund set up for her. And I'm personally going to fly to Honduras and hand her every penny that I raise. Not her, but her father. Obviously, you know, she's crippled, you know, and she probably doesn't have much time, you know, left in her life, you know, with meningitis and stuff. I'm not sure what the lifespan is. It could be a long time. I don't know. But yeah, there was nights where like it's very hard to put a tear in my eye, but that girl put some tears in my eyes on several nights. And I'm going to once this is all complete and the project is done, and then we do the rise, I'm personally going to fly there, even though that I'm not with my wife anymore. and I'm still gonna go back to that country and hand her every dime that I raise, for her.
I'm a big soft baby, so I take that for what it's worth. It's not that hard to get me to cry.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's one of my biggest regrets of my old, deleting my old profile is I had a picture of me and her. I still got the SD cards of the videos of me and her and stuff like that. But I got some pictures of me and her, man, and just the smile on her face. And she knew that there was something good there. Like, she didn't know what it was about, man. And,
it's that strength of spirit. I just want to interrupt real quick. It's that strength of spirit, the little girl with meningitis in the wheelchair, whose only form of expression is in her mouth.
Yeah.
And she just constantly smiles. Can you imagine how hard it is to maintain that sort of positive attitude when all around you is suffering? Nothing to look forward to, but more suffering.
Man, it just...
This is why it's so important.
I remember having to go to the bathroom. I had to pee, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to go around the shed that they lived in and just pee out, because I saw what they were going to the bathroom in. And I didn't want anything to do with that. Not like I'm too good for that, but I don't want to fuck it up. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't want to hurt that. And I just got a message. Oh shit. So I just, on the drop down menu, Sammy Corazon del Fuego, I just seen drop down, let's go Brendon. Instead of let's go Brandon. That's good, man. That just brought my spirits up, man. Corazon, Sammy, love you, brother. I spoke about you at the beginning of this, so if you want to watch it from the beginning, you can. But I didn't. So I didn't want to. I was like, no, I'll go. I'll pee outside. And he's like, no. You come here. You gotta you can't. When they insist, you gotta kind of go with it, And I had to go the bathroom inside this bucket, and I'm thinking to myself, there's dirt floors, fire ants, you could just see them walking around, and it just tore me the fuck up, and next thing you know, I'm on my way to the islands in the Caribbean, and taking life for granted again, or I don't want to say that, but in a way, taking my life for granted. Yeah. I think, I will say that. I end up on the Caribbean islands for a couple weeks. I think maybe I forget, 10 days, a couple weeks, somewhere in that range. And that was the whole point of me going out there, was that. But the humanitarian efforts were it was a must. But my heart, it was a must, to do that. I don't feel like I would have been a human if I didn't give everything I had that I could get back in America, whether it be, $5, $10, $12, $13,000. If I didn't give all of that while I was there, I didn't feel that I would be human. I didn't feel like I would actually be doing, my job as a person. It just living, and next thing you know, I'm on a fucking huge ferry, and these are a yacht ferry type deal, thing. This thing was enormous, and I'm on my way to the islands, man. And then when I got out there, I remember meeting this guy Pat, because they'll come up to you, man, you need cocaine, like they're buried in the sand, like on the beaches and shit. It's fucking wild out there, man, like wild. And I'm like, no fucking way am I getting hemmed up on some fucking like cocaine and shit while I'm out here. I'm like, I'm out here to film fucking islands, man, not do drugs, bro. Like it's bad enough that I wear a bracelet that gives me free beer all fucking day, you know what I mean, at this fucking hotel. And so like I'm out there, I got to that island, I started drinking myself to shit. I was fucking partying all day, but I was so focused on like my objective, which was to get these shots of Wanaha, Utila, and Roatan, which were the islands out there. And they were perfect shots because they were, 37, 38 miles away, sea level, straight up. This is why I'm here. It's game time. It's like, you're coming through the fucking road, like the college football players coming off of the Rose Bowl, like fucking let's go, you know what I mean? Like, well, let's do this, let's get these shots, and I nailed it, but I didn't feel like I didn't feel fulfilled because of all I had witnessed in the weeks leading up to why I had gone out there to film the documentary.
I can imagine that just leaves that real, just icky feeling on you. Seeing
there was a void. It made a huge void inside of me, and even though I had completely crushed every island that I wanted to film, everything I had gone out there to get, I got. I was left far more empty than when I went out there. And we were staying at this this like gorgeous fucking hotel. I mean, not even a hotel. They were like townhomes almost around with a pool in the middle with a lazy river that went around the whole fucking, it was just like, top-notch shit. You know what I mean? And I was like, I kind of felt relaxed a little bit out there, and I kind of let go of like what I had just been through and seen and shit on the mainland and stuff, and I was nailing the shots that I needed, and it was all you could fucking drink, all you could fucking eat. There was no once you pay for that hotel or whatever the hell you built, whatever you want to call it, everything you just walk up and it's free. And so like I started like really noticing like fuck, like I'm waking up, I'm walking straight to a fucking bar, man. And just drinking. And then, I'd sober up a little bit, lay on the beach, and then get my shots for the day, go right back to the bar. And I swear, whatever we paid for us to stay there, I outdrank that. I guarantee it cost them money to have me at that fucking place, dude. But that's where the fall started really happening. That's where I really started like, it's like, people that you go to war, if you go to Afghanistan, you go to Iraq, you don't come back the same. When you witness things that are just so horrific, you're never really the same person again. Like things stick with you for the rest of your life. And when we got back, I had everything I sought out to do there, from humanitarian stuff to shots. I got it all. And when I came back, I was just not the same person. And everybody's like, I can't wait for this documentary. And they're just thinking like, it's just going to be flat earth. And I'm going, oh man, it's like way deeper than that. Like I left a piece of myself in that country. We take so much for granted here in America, Canada, I just left a piece of myself there, and I just went downhill from there, man. I went downhill, and people would just constantly ask me, when are you releasing the documentary? In my head, like I said, my brain said, do it, release it, produce the footage. And my heart was saying, you can't do it, man. You're not ready yet.
That's the thing about having to live your life as an example. When you're not living that example, when you're doing things you don't necessarily want people to see. Maybe you don't mind that they see it, but that's not who you are. and you know they know that's not who you are, and you just can't. You don't want to admit that you've regressed, and this is where you've become now. And I totally get not wanting to put it out there, not wanting to put yourself out there as much as you were, and just having to kind of take a back seat because there's this guilt and shame from everywhere, from being not having to live in these third world conditions to then going almost to the other extreme and going into these all-inclusive Bahama hotels and just living the life of an American out on the foreign scenes.
It was so it took years for me to actually see the damage that it actually did to me. I came back, and those couple beers a night turned into a 6-pack a night, turned into every once in a while some fucking cocaine and whatever, and then a 12-pack a night, and then next thing you know, I'm losing my family. I'm losing I see my wife distancing herself. I see and I have everything to live for, beautiful children, what I think is a wonderful wife, and to this day I don't know, I'm never going to say anything bad about her, especially publicly. I don't have anything bad to say about her. She's a wonderful person. We're not like officially divorced or anything like that, but I don't have my family anymore. And that's when I started to, she left, and instead of it like making me stronger, it was such a shock value of now we're talking post corona shit, post 2019, in the Central America, South America, whatever, and it started a snowball effect, this trying to be this leader and trying to be this beacon of light, that I neglected myself and my own family. It became from, me leading all these people, to me shutting down my accounts, to me, fuck everything. I don't want anything to do with anything. I see my family leaving and distancing themselves. And then eventually my wife leaves me. And I go from, that drinking every night to, rolling over in the morning and drinking a bottle of whiskey first thing in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, that's how much it had ripped me apart. And if I didn't wake up and see like at least like alcohol or something to get my mind away from losing everything, when all I ever tried to do was give, it was that devastating to me.
I imagine so. I imagine that it's so hard to recover, especially when when it feels like you've got your feet underneath you, you've got the momentum, and you're kind of going along, and it's like, maybe it's not perfect, but fuck it, we're moving, let's just go. And then all of a sudden your world just gets ripped out from underneath you, and you've got to now adjust and pivot and figure out how to now live life once again under this strange new paradigm that is completely unfamiliar. And
this whole alone thing, I'm not, I got my Rottweiler, he keeps me going, but I'm on the rise, and I'm coming back, and it like this whole experience inspired me to actually get the ball rolling on the effects that it can, that the adverse reactions, we'll call it, of putting yourself out there and choosing other people, even though I've been called a shill and like whatnot. Like, all right, dude, like, come on. Like, I'm the realest fucking truth. like I'm the furthest thing from a fucking, you know what I mean? Like, please, like, with somebody paying me some money for this shit, man. Like, this is nothing but cost me money.
My poor ass would love it.
I've never made a fucking dime, dude. Not even a penny, dude. Like, nobody has ever, like, 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 you got, like, I'm not calling any of these people shills, but, these big flat earthers, they got their books, they got their, their channels, they got their this. I just had my Facebook group and what I was giving back. And I had hit that. I mean, I don't think there's a such thing as a rock bottom. I think you could always, I think death is probably rock bottom. You know what I mean? So you can always get worse, but I identified with everything that I was going through. I identified with all my issues that I was having. And I started noticing that the karma was coming back into my life, and I'm going, I got to make this documentary now. My wife's not here. We're, hopefully going to get everything figured out between us, with the kids and everything like that. And I'm putting a lot out there publicly right now that I don't want to, and I'm sure there's people that are going to use it against me or whatever, or use my honesty, that people that would never have the balls to admit to anything even remotely close to what I'm here saying, and I started noticing that the manifestation of your own reality, it's coming back to me, and I'm on the rise now, and I feel it's time. And not only that, the people that have fallen into my life since I started to do the right thing, it doesn't make sense, from a video editor to, like, just people that want to be involved. And it's like, now is the time. And I'm talking with this girl, and she actually she wants to join. Actually, I'm pretty sure. We got so wrapped up in the journey.
I totally forgot about it. I feel so horrible. Holy shit! Oh my god! All right, I've got a flat line. I've got a telephone number. If she's still driving and she still wants to pop on, I can get up the flat line and she can call in and we can chit chat all she wants. I am such an ass. My deepest
I forgot
apologies,
too.
Vanessa.
Vanessa,
so
I didn't
sorry.
forget about you. You know what I mean? But she's like, oh, you're doing a documentary. I'm like, yeah, it's a couple of years later, but I finally feel like it's time to release it, because I've gone through the rise, I went through the fall, and I want to document everything. And it's not about the earth being like flat, it's about everything that comes along with it. So it's a documentary on a scale that that we've never seen before. And that's what I want to put out, is something that we haven't seen before. I mean, when somebody says fucking 8 inches times a mile squared, it's like a fucking like bullet in my brain. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, from the people that do like hip hop, flat earth hip hop and shit. And I'm not knocking you, but it's like, fuck, we get it. We all understand. You know what I mean? It's like a dagger or a fucking bullet going into my fucking head every time I hear the same repetitive stuff. And I didn't realize that I was actually living a story that would be different, that could actually give a different taste to the fucking community. The truth seekers out there, and the people that are awake or want to be awake. And a lot of people probably have gone through the same stuff. And we've lost people, people have committed suicide. And that was, you know, there's a lot of truth to it. Like it affects us, man. Like people have killed themselves over this shit.
It does affect us. And I want to just take a moment right here. And this is where I'm going to throw it in. You'll know when you're onto the truth, when your whole life starts to go to shit, when things start, it's an attack.
Yep.
When I don't want to get too weird and hokey with spiritualism and more into these things that we can't necessarily see and prove, but I think exist anyway. Once you are on the true path, this path to honest knowing of what's going on around you, that's when those negative entities will really step their game up, because they're trying to throw you off. If they can just distract you from this path, then they don't have to worry about you continuing on seeking the truth and sharing the truth. It's that sharing the truth that makes him one lone crazy guy standing in front of a cork board with a bunch of red yarns and push pins. Nobody gives a shit about him. The TV's already managed to make people think he's crazy anyway. When he starts talking to other people and the other people start paying attention and they start talking and then they start talking, that's what scares them. That's why you become under attack. So when you want to live your life as that shining example, when you want to be the change that you want to see in the world, and you be that shining example, that lighthouse, the light on the hill, the beacon of hope, that's when you're more likely going to take a tumble. Things are probably going to regress. And what I said earlier today on our conversation was that it's a fine line between a beacon and a target. To be the beacon is to set that example for others to look at and see and say, yep, that's the fucking way. I see what Brendon's doing. I see.
People are saying that's the man that we need to get. That's the target, so it's.
When the people start saying that's the man we need to be, that's when they say that's the target we need to get.
Yep. Like that is beyond. There's more truth in what you just said than there's not many people that could compact so much truth into one sentence or one paragraph like what you just said.
How much of your, let's get a little uncomfortable here, how much of your separation was caused by the information of what you were showing her? You said she was really on board, and once you started to present her, it started to click and it made sense, and she was really strong behind you. How much of it was the information that was just sort of too far out there and was just causing too much drama in her life, and how much of it was this good old addict's brain and learning to obsess and focusing on it until job is done and letting other things sort of fall by the wayside and not getting that attention?
I would say it 100% is the reason why I lost everything that I lost. 100%. Everything, is because of it. And what's hard to absorb is the fact that I was just trying to fight in the name of humanity, and at the same time I lost myself and I lost everything that I held dear to me, and I would say it was there's not even like a 99%. It's 100% because of the movement and the truth and everything that I was trying to fight for is 100% the reason why I lost everything. And there's really no other way to put it, man. I'm just starting to get everything back. In a sense, like I can see like a light at the end of the tunnel. Back in I think it was March, right after my birthday. she had just like kind of left, you know, a couple weeks prior, and I think it was late March, early April, you know, somewhere in that time frame. And so everything was like that, you know, that rocky bottom that we were talking about and stuff like that. And I'll tell everybody straight up, you know, I took a gutting knife for deer that's meant to gut open, you know, intestines and like pull out, you know, kills and stuff that you have, you know, when you go hunting. So it's a very hooked blade, and I cut my arteries right in half. Cut my arteries right in half, man. Nobody knows that shit. And they were squirting out, like blood was squirting out so bad it was like hitting the ceiling and you know, 10 12 feet up in the air. And my wife had seen me dying on the baby cameras, or that we had, you know, we have cameras set up in the living room and stuff, and she ended up, you know, calling, you know, an ambulance for me and shit. And I think they said I lost 2.5 liters of blood or something. Like, it was like almost half my blood, I think it was. And if she didn't see that on the cameras, because then like somebody, you know, called me and obviously was like, you know, talking to me about it and stuff, you know, from, you know, the police and stuff. They were like, hey, you know, like, what's going on? And I was like, you know, at this point I'm like, I'm fading in and out, you know. And I realized I was dying, you know, I was definitely dying. And you know, all these ambulances and, you know, fire trucks show up and stuff, and you know, there's a guy on the phone with me, like they don't want to come in here because they know I'm armed and they know, like, you know, whatnot. And I was dying. I was dead. I was a few minutes from being dead. And this one officer that I had met, she pulled me over or something like that. I think she pulled me over but didn't give me a ticket, but she was like wicked cool. And her name was Katie, I believe. Yeah, I know. And I've said it a few times, you know, on my face. You know, I never said why. I go, this is the woman that saved my life, and I post it on Facebook. And I never said why. I never told anybody like what I'm saying right now. Mm-hmm. And you know, I just say this is the cop that saved my life, you know. And I just remember we had a lot in common in that we had such a good conversation, even though she was like pulling me over on my motorcycle. I forget how we first interacted. She either pulled my street bike over or something like that. And we had so much in common, and she could tell at the time, because this was like during my fall, you know. And she said to me, she looks at me and she goes, do you have post-traumatic stress syndrome? And I was like, yeah, I got diagnosed with that recently. And she goes, me too. And it was just like, I never felt so connected with somebody that understood, you know, even though hers came from something completely different than what mine did. You know, like anybody that suffers from it, it doesn't matter how you get it, you know, whether it's, you know, going through all the shit I did as a child and then trying to become this warrior of truth, and then seeing the horrible side of life in third world countries, and trying to give back to the world only to have shit, you know, come back at me. And it just, you know, leads to that, you know. Or you go to fucking, you know, and I'm not comparing mine to anybody else's, But you go to, you know, Afghanistan or Iraq, and all these fucking poor kids that are 18 and 19 years old, they fucking end up going over there and they having to fucking kill people and see that side of life. And these kids come back like 20 years old, 21 years old, 22 years old, whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter the age, but these little kids are coming back, and I call them little kids because that's what they are. They're young fucking children. You know what I mean? I don't give if you're 21 and you're watching, you're a child, you're a kid. You know what I mean? And I'm not calling you, I'm not disrespecting you in any way, but you're malleable. Your minds are malleable. You stood up, you went to Iraq when other people stood down, you know, and you went and fought for something that you believe was right, and then you come back and you're never the same for the rest of your fucking life. You're never the fucking same. And that is what happened to me. Just, it wasn't, you know, and I, you know, being an Iraqi war veteran or something like that, it was on a different scale from childhood trauma to this, you know. But once you suffer from it, you know what I mean, you suffer from it. And you know, I ended up, you know, I was on the phone with the police that night, and I said, listen, I'm not coming outside. I'm dying inside my house tonight. I'm like, I lost everything. I'm dead. You know, I don't want to do this anymore. And they're like, please just come out. And I was like, the only way I'm coming outside is if you get Katie on the phone, because I never forgot her name. You know, just get her on the phone. And she wasn't working that night. She was off duty that night. And I hung up the phone. I remember just bleeding out. They calling me back. And they're like, and then, you know, eventually I answer again. And she's like, Katie came to work tonight. She's outside right now. She literally left her house and drove her fucking personal car to my house with all these fucking fire trucks and ambulances outside, you know, as I'm fucking dying inside, you know. And I remember opening my door, and she's waving her flashlight. She's like, Brendon, it's Katie. She's like, it's me. And I finally felt safe, you know. And it was at that point where I realized, I go, you're not dying tonight. This is not your night, you know. And I remember yelling to her. I was like, don't cuff me too hard. She's like, I'm not even, you know, I won't cuff you. She's like, I might have to use 2 cuffs or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you're not being charged with anything. She's like, Brendon, just come out, just lift up your shirt and just lay on the ground. Let's get you into the ambulance. You know what I mean? And I did that. And she came into the ambulance with me. Meanwhile, dude, I'm literally squirting. She was like, this is gonna sound fucking weird, and I'm gonna put some like light humor on it in a way. But she was covered in my fucking blood, and she's a very attractive girl. And I'm not gonna say it was like kind of hot, but like the fact that she was willing to like have my blood squirt all over it, it didn't faze her at all. I was like, she's a keeper, man. You know what I mean? Like, whoever gets to marry that chick is like fucking fuck, man. Like, she's a keeper, you know. But she's like covered in my fucking blood, you know. And she rode the ambulance all the way, you know, with me to the hospital. And then not only that, you know, kept everybody away from me that could possibly be like, harmful to me. Like, didn't let anybody besides medical come towards me. And she actually went into the operating room with me to have my arteries put back together. As you know, and I'm literally like, you know, an ounce of blood away from death at this point, you know. And I remember like kind of like leaning over to my left to look, and I just remember this black glove like grabbing the side of my face, and she's like, pull him, and she like pulls it back to her, and she's like, Brendon, you don't want to see what the fuck is happening on the other side of your body right now. You don't want to see this, you know. And she's like, look at me. And I just seen her like just covered in my fucking blood. She goes, I am covered in your blood right now. She's like, do not look to your left. Please, for me, don't look to your left. You don't want to see it. And I think her whole point was like the shock. Mm-hmm. Like if I had looked over, I was already like at
Yep.
such a loss. Like I could have just gone out like at that point, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And, you know, so there's, I my wife ended up coming, even though we were separated at the time again, you know, still, but she ended up coming to the hospital. And the way she was looking at me, just her eyes, you know, it was just, I realized at that point that rolling over, waking up, drinking, you know, just so depressed, so fucked from my life, and what it had become, was going to be the death of me or going to be the reason why I live. And I chose at that moment to live, but I wasn't sure how yet, you know, how I was going to repair, you know, the damages that were done. And, you know, I can proudly sit here and say that, you know, I am alive and I don't use any narcotics. I take very little medication for heartburn and stuff like that. And, I'm back, you know, I'm back.
I love you so much. It's hard hearing come from somebody else having experienced so many similar things. Having survived suicide attempts and alcoholism and drugs and pushing away the people that care about me most to the point that I'm alone and drunk and broke and just trying to figure out how to get high next. Don't give a shit about myself or my relationships or anything else. It's just trying to pacify that little monster inside the brain that doesn't want to feel things and trying to feed him and pacify him. So when I hear your story, it's close to home. It's the only way to say it. It's way too close to home for me to be comfortable. And I love you. And I'm so glad you have made it through this. It's tough.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm alive. That's all I gotta say is I'm alive, and I'm starting to feel alive again, and I'm starting to feel what I felt back in 2015, that urge to fight, you know, and that fight is back. And I can feel my family's not back yet, but I can feel them coming back already. You know, the karma of doing what's right is,
the bitch of it is the karma of doing what's right may not come around to you in this life at all. You can do right all you want, and people can shit on you and take advantage of your compassion and take advantage of your honesty and take advantage of your vulnerability of putting yourself out there and just saying, this is me. Take it or leave it, but fuck you if you leave it, because it's your loss. And in that vulnerability, there's a lot to be said there. I want to take a small break. I need to smoke a cigarette after that. And, well, to be honest, I got to go piss anyway. Like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. It's not going to be anything big. I'm just going to play some music, throw up the visual, and we're going to come right back, because this wasn't just a choice to live. We were talking about some things that have happened and some of the crazy stuff that's been going on since then. And it's just absolutely mind-boggling. The crap. Again, it's the flack you take when you're directly over the target. And man, have you caught some flack. I've heard some crazy stories of people whose life has been turned upside down 6 ways to Sunday because they don't think the earth's a spinning space ball anymore. But criminy, the crap that you've had to go through. And I really want to get into that. I really want to get into, you know, the intro music that we played coming in and some of this other stuff we got going on. But before we do, I'm going to take a little break. We're going to go hit the head, have a grit, have a dart. Yeah, I'd have a dart. And We'll be back just momentarily. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on this impromptu
Go
Sunday night.
smoke a lung dart.
One
Go
dart.
smoke your lung dart and take a piss, man. I got to piss too, bro.
All right.
But yeah, the story's not over, man. We got some really cool stuff to talk about. I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Sweet.
So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There's still a lot more good things to come, so make sure you guys stick around. It's only going to be, like I said, just maybe a minute. Well, 2.5 minutes, I think, is what I've queued up. So thanks, guys. Stick around. We'll be right back.
I see the spark, I see your energy overcome the dark. I am a servant, I'm on my knees. There's that your shadow enveloping me. I like the God in you to meet the God in me. You plus me equals 23.
I just threw up a fucking straight up Mason sign. I did not mean to do that.
Jesus.
Oh, I just fucking hey, dude.
Now I'm the shill and you're the shill.
Yeah,
Jesus.
we're chilling out, bro. We're just chilling out. Yeah, so like it was funny that you played that because my life has been not as no, not too many secrets. I've kind of been out there in the light, and if you go back and watch that video of that song, it was actually filmed in my garage port here in Londonderry, and a lot of people, not happy.
So can I drop that link for the live premiere? Can I drop that in the chat? Let people take a look at it.
Yeah, let them see it. Fuck them, man.
Fuck them.
Fuck that band, dude. I love that fucking song, though, man. Fuck, dude. Fuck, dude. Well, yeah, you can see the live feed and shit, man, like going and stuff. And like it was crazy, man. Like, and I'm like, for me, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, you guys are a little late to the fucking show. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and but yeah, if you know that band or you know that song, they actually were like performed live in my garage fucking port, you know.
There, I got
And there was probably like 300 people, 400 people, maybe a little bit more than that. I mean, these people, this band sells out fucking arenas, dude. You know what I mean? They're fucking huge. And I hear live music going, and I'm like, the fuck is this? And I look out my fucking window, and I fucking see a band playing, and I'm like, and then I hear it, like my neighbor listening to it. So I go on YouTube and I go live in, you know, whatever town. I'm not going to, you know, put spots out there and shit. And I fucking found them live in my fucking garage port. And then there was like 15, 20 cops separating a mob of people where if you read some of the fucking shit in the drop feed that comes down, they're probably going to fucking, now that I'm coming out about this video, they're probably going to fucking delete it off YouTube, but share it away. You can see things about like, we'll go to his house in fours and fucking take him out and shit. Dude, it's fucking crazy, dude. So like, they're like separating like me. I'm armed, fucking vest on and all. And then you can tell there's like 15, 20 cops and then like a mob of people behind this like live metal band in lonely fucking New Hampshire, you know, in the garage. And it was clearly there, you know, because of, you know, me. And hey, I'm honored, but, you know, they say, you know, you plus me equals 23, man. There was fucking 400 people over there and me by myself, and nobody did shit, you know. And that just, it's a prime example of like, we are the Mr. Smiths are just fucking out there, man.
Yep.
They're out there, you know. And I was honored that the band actually did that, and it was actually 2 weekends in a row that they fucking did it, man. They came out here 2 weekends in a row to film the video and shit. And you know, I in a sense I feel honored, but like the shit they were saying and then like not like stepping up, I did not respect that at all, you know. If you're gonna be with all your friends and you're gonna be a famous band and shit like that, and you're gonna threaten people's lives, like, you gotta do something about it. You don't just fucking do it. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, that was quite the I mean, you can't really explain it, man. Like,
this was not the stage that you had set for me earlier today. To give people an idea, imagine 500 people standing outside your house.
Yeah, about 300 feet away, 300, 400 feet away. Yeah,
with a line of SWAT team cops dressed in SWAT gear to make sure that those few hundred people don't come charging at your front door. Or so you don't come charging at your front door.
I know, right? I stood at my front door, man, and I was locked and loaded. I even walked out with my Roddy armed, and I walked out to about 150 feet, and I could tell everybody was like, yo, we came outside and like, we're trying to film this video here that we wrote about him and shit. And like, he like, I was supposed to be inside and afraid. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck how many people there are. You know what I mean? Like, you know, a magazine holds a lot more than fucking, you know what I mean? Like, it takes 1 second to reload. You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a fuck. You want to threaten my life at my fucking house? Let's go. You know what I mean? Like, like I have more than enough to prove my Kyle Rittenhouse or whatever you want to fucking call it, dude. But it would have been a slaughter fest. But if you watch the video, They probably don't show it on the YouTube, but there's points where they're like all like fucking showing their guns and shit like that, and like they had like extended magazines and stuff like that.
On some
So
pea
I felt
shooters, right?
threatened, you know what I mean? Like there was definitely a threat there. But
It's just a
at the
9
same
millimeter
time, I
though,
felt
right?
What's that?
It's just a 9mm though, right? They just had
Yeah, it was just like they had
a
like
big magazine on a
like
little pea shooter.
45s with and those type of magazines usually like jam
You're gonna
up
jam
and shit.
about
They're not
third of the way in.
Yeah, they're not like reliable and shit like that, but I still don't want one shooting at me, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was a crazy couple weekends in a row when they were filming this video, and you know, it was clearly had to do with me gearing up to release the documentary and shit, and like the people that just weren't for the truth movement. I just felt like there was like a matrix of Mr. Smiths over there, because it went from, oh, we'll go in groups of 4 to, oh, we'll just all rush the, you know, if you read the fucking chat, dude, like every, 20, 30 comments, you can actually pick up what the fuck they're actually planning on doing. And then they all just stand there with their cell phones, like, you could tell with the light on and shit, and they just filming. And I'm at my front door in between like fucking like SWAT team, and I'm fucking just holding my arms up. I'm like, whoever wants to come, the fucking cops, you guys, fucking bring it. I'm like, there's gonna be fucking bodies, man. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like at this point, like I've been threatened enough, you know what I mean? And I didn't care. I was more concerned about my fucking dog, to be honest with you, than anything, you know what I mean? Because like that fucking thing's gonna fight with me, you know what I mean? And if they are, cops or just regular people, and
They'll have to shoot
the
him.
dogs, yeah, they're gonna shoot him. You know
have
what
to.
I mean? And that's why I actually put my fucking dog in the cage and put the, I have a blanket over it and stuff like that. I put him in his cage and I put the blanket over it and stuff like that. And I was just gonna kind of go at it alone if something happened. And I was just pacing back and forth, and then the crowd got smaller. And this was only like a month and a half, 2 months ago, and or whatever it says, like a month ago. I think it says on the YouTube channel, like a month ago. And I'm pacing back and forth, going to my front door, holding up my arms to everybody, like, are we fucking doing this or not? You guys fucking, like, where's all this like tough talk now? You done filming your fucking video, which turned out to be a fucking sick song, dude. Like, I rail that fucking song in my house, and they ended up, finishing up filming, and then the crowd got smaller, and then next thing you know, there was maybe like 10, 12 people down there, and then like not a limousine, but like one of those van limos, kind of. It's like a van limousine, like pulled up and like picked up the band and shit, and then they fucking left and stuff. And I'll show you right now. Like I'll bring you to the show or exactly where it was. So let's see here. All right, so let me see if I can turn the camera around here. I can't, but let me see if I can just do this. If you can see the lights in the very far distance right there.
Yep.
Like way, way, way back there, that's a garage port right there. So it's like about 350, 400 feet, maybe about a football field and a half lengths away. That's where they filmed it. And about 100 feet in front of my house is where like they like had separated like this fucking mob of people from like me and shit. And I was kind of disappointed that that they did that, because people wanted to fuck around and find out, you know what I mean? And I have nothing to lose at this point. I'm like at this point I'm like coming back from a recovery that you just don't usually normally like make it back from, so like I wasn't afraid. Just like I've always kind of been in that same mindset, Well,
I think we share that commonality that once enough is enough, then nothing else matters. If I say no and you want to keep pushing it, then again, consequences be damned, we're going to go.
Yeah.
And this is what flat earthing can get you. That's a live death threat. That's a film crew filming people threatening your life.
Mm-hmm.
Armed people, not like idle threats, but capable of following
through.
Like
serious fucking threats, man. Serious fucking threats.
Did your wife have to experience anything like this? Did she ever have to deal with some of the bullshit that you are catching for flat earthing?
No. That was very random when that happened. I had started doing live videos again, and I was just getting over, heavy drinking and it just, what had happened in April with me trying to take my own life. And like, you look at it and it takes more balls to admit to something like that than it does to knock somebody for somebody who like admitted to something like that.
Absolutely.
It just at this point, I don't know where life's going to go, but I do know that I'm back and alive and I'm feeling like Christ and God in me and I know a lot of people out there don't believe in that, and that's fine. I don't knock you for what you're, I'm not religious or whatever, at all. I don't label myself as anything Catholic, Christian, or anything like that, but I do believe in a certain set of beliefs. I do believe in a way of life, and I have the right to protect myself, and just for the first time, like in, COVID, really when the COVID shit started is really when like, things started going like, it kind of like threw a wrench into like, my already like downfall of everything that was happening, and, I'm just glad that my kids are healthy. They're in schools that, hang on one second.
Mm-hmm.
Hey. Stop it. My dog was chewing on one of my couch pillows. Just like he did my hat, as you can see here. He fucking ruined my hat.
It's nice. I get that a lot.
Yeah, I still wear it though. It's still good. It's whatever. It adds character. And I'm on the other side now, and I'm just happy to be here and happy to be alive, and I think for any flack that I might take for coming out about how bad I had fallen from where I'd started, it takes more balls to admit it than it does to fucking talk shit about it, So
and that's how you live by example.
Yeah.
The uncomfortable truths, the warts and all. And I think that's probably one of the reasons I love that you sort of chose us to come on and do this, because we sort of epitomize the warts and all. And I just think it's really great that you can come out on the other side. I mean, quickly. That was relatively quickly to do it pretty much by yourself.
All alone, man. All alone.
That's the worst. That is the absolute worst. I mean, it's one thing when you're going through waking up process and you feel so alone because there's nobody you feel like you can talk to about it. And it's another thing when you have to wake up in the morning or go to bed at night in an empty bed in an empty townhouse with nothing but you and your dog and silence. And to pull yourself through that deserves a round of applause. It's very few people could do it. I doubt that I could do it. It took me a lot longer to pull myself out of my depression and my funk and bullshit I'd gotten myself into after my divorce. And I certainly didn't do it alone.
I woke up every day. I went to bed by myself. I woke up by myself. And it's just funny because, like, if you go back through any of my profile, any of my, accounts that I have on Facebook, and, I had started a TikTok, which kind of got rolling. But then I deleted the TikTok. Now I got no followers on that shit. I just like to look at the videos every once in a while. But I did have a pretty big TikTok going for a little bit. And if you look through any of the shit, any of it, there's not one post of me,
taking someone else and trying to bring them down in an attempt to put yourself above them.
There's not one post, man.
I see so much of that. And it's not like there's any reason to bring other flat earthers down, except that maybe they're achieving a little bit more notoriety. And that's something that you think you deserve because you're special too. You found the flat earth, and by God, I want to feel as important as I make them feel, because they're so important in my life. I want people to make me feel like I'm important in their lives too. And there's so many people that seem to clamor and fight and stab each other in the back in an attempt to be the next popular content creator.
Yeah. Like, and I never did it on purpose. Like, it's not like something that I chose to do. It's just my fight was what brought the people to me, passion. Like how hard I fought. That it was just funny that I found myself so alone when there was like thousands of people that followed or in my groups or but there was like I never once posted anything about anything. I never once made a post about I need help or anything like that. I just I see it all the time. I see people just posting shit about themselves all the like constantly, just like they're constantly posting about like how shitty life is, and like you'll never see me posting about that stuff ever. Go back and find me one post of me talking about how shitty fucking life is, and you won't see it. I never put my business out there, and I think this is the reason why I came to the conclusion that I had such a high, and such a low that it all made sense why I'd held on to all the footage, from the documentary, because it wasn't so much about the earth being flat. It's about what it can do to flatten out your life and flatten out your, the people around you. If it wasn't for the very, very couple close friends that I have personally, and that like are local, like that I can go to and stuff like that, very few, we'll say one or two, and then if it wasn't for the group chat, which is, man, almost 7 years strong now, the Lion's Den is a group chat on Messenger. And, a couple of the people, let me see, did I get you back? All right.
Yeah.
A couple of the people in there had my back, because I would say things inside the group chat that I wouldn't say publicly on Facebook or anything like that, because I felt close enough to these people. I've been they've been moderating or administrating my group for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, or however long it's been, and that this chat has kind of been like a family to me. So if it wasn't for them, and if it wasn't for the couple people that I have locally that are close to me, nobody would know anything about me, you know, being having such a downfall, and almost losing my life, and turning towards, you know, alcoholism and abuse, you know, and substance abuse and stuff like that. But I just finally having the meaning to why my heart was saying for so many years, don't do it. It just, it's so gives me purpose, you know. Gives me purpose. So,
man, I dig the shit out of that. So we're hitting that rock bottom, man. It's got to be tough. Him sitting there again alone in the silence and having to look back and see all the chaos and upheaval that truth, that fighting for truth, seeking truth causes. Of all the things, you'd think it would bring some harmony, some organization to life now that you're operating under true knowledge, as opposed to just being led around by the ring of your nose, being told bullshit all day. And now you sit here and you look back and you see what truth and the seeking of truth has done, not just to you, not just the personal toll it took on your body and your weight and stirring up old demons, but on the very relationships, your wife and your kids.
Yep.
It's taken this huge toll. So looking back now, would you what are some of the lessons learned before I ask the next question? Did you learn anything that you can carry with you throughout this whole process?
I probably learned not to regret anything, obviously. That's one huge thing that I learned, because I can't regret anything that I've lost or anything that I've gained. I just got to focus on, you know, what's next. So like regretting nothing is, and that's an easy one to say, like, oh, no regrets, but like really not regretting, really forgiving yourself, so you can forgive others. Learning forgiveness is just one of the biggest things. I can't look back and say, you know, like, you know, why'd you do that, or why'd you do this? It's just, it does not change tomorrow, you know. So that would be the biggest lesson that I've taken from this, that no matter what you do in your life, that it's all about how are you a better person the next day than you were the day before. And
it's progress. It's not perfection. We're never going to be those perfect people.
Exactly.
If we can strive, we're going to fail. I'm going to fail. I'm going to fuck up. I'm not going to continually be able to improve, because I'm just a piece of shit that way. And I'm going to fuck up, and I'm going to do shit that I'm not supposed to wish I hadn't done. But not having those regrets and learning to forgive yourself. Mad Pyman in chat saying self-forgiveness is essential. And I really think it is, because once you can grasp the fact of how to actually forgive yourself for all the horrible shit.
That's a hard one too, man. Oh, that's a tough one.
It is.
That's a tough one. When you can figure out forgiving yourself, like, because it's like it almost like when you don't understand forgiving yourself, it seems like a selfish act. Like, what do you mean I got to forgive myself to forgive somebody else? You know what I mean? But when you truly understand the meaning about forgiving yourself, it propels you into being a better person the next day. And whether it's just by a little bit or a huge jump, you know, not normally is a huge jump, but it's usually just very, very small steps of progress. Nobody goes from like one thing to the next. I mean, like a huge jump. Like I didn't go from being one of the biggest friggin' flat earthers in the world to in a hospital bed with fucking, you know, almost dead. You know, like that shit didn't just happen overnight. The progression of rising and falling was, you know, there's a lot involved in between. And when you start to learn that you can't live with your past, you know, you can only learn from it, in that you have to like actually forgive yourself, because you can't rely on other people to forgive you or pity you or anything like that, you know. And they always say, you know, you could complain, but like, who's gonna listen, you know? And that's why I never complained. I've never like complaining. You know, maybe like I guess you could probably find something where I had a problem with something, but not like about my own life and stuff like that. I never complained about my own life. I never complained about what I had lost as a child or as an adult. And yeah, if there's one thing I learned, it's just forgiveness, man. It's all you can really have, you know, no matter how big it is, you know. Like, I forgive myself and I forgive my wife, and I just look forward to being the best father that I can be for my kids, and that's really all I'm focused on. But God's like putting people in my life that I didn't think he was going to put in my life, like at the perfect time, and everything just seems like, you know, once I learned to forgive myself, I you know, I held my head up alone, and I just started marching forward, and people just started popping into my life that I did not expect were going to pop into my life. And I can only be thankful for that, you know.
Yep.
You'd say, like, you know, like, you look at anybody that's in this spotlight or was in the spotlight, you know, who the fuck knows what Eric DeVay's going through right now. Like, you know what I mean? He's probably the largest, you know, truth seeker in the world. You know what I mean? Arguably, I would say, you know what I mean? He's probably got the most content out there, the most books, the most, like, you know what I mean, in our generation and stuff like that. And me and him have had some conversations, you know, very, you know, few and far between, a few years back. You know, we talked a little bit and stuff like that. And but nothing too major. But who the fuck knows what he's going through? You know what I mean? I know he's been called a shill and, you know, whatever, and I'm a shill, and everybody's just fucking shill, super woke everywhere, whatever. But at the end of the day, like, do you know what the fuck he's going through? Do you know what the fuck this guy's going through? Do you know what this person's going through? You don't. You know, I think a lot of us, especially us that are trying to set a leadership example or try to be that beacon of light, we can't show that fucking weakness, because if we do, then we feel that, like, other people are going to lose hope, you know? So it's a tough one, man. It's tough.
It is tough. And it's sort of the way I've had to adapt my parenting, has been not necessarily as a reaction to how my son acts, but more of a reaction to the environment my ex-wife was providing for him. So I wanted to make sure that the kind of father I was going to be sort of the exact opposite. I needed to offset what was happening over there.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't, it was going to be too much. And he needed to be able to come here and have that break and that separation. And I think learning to parent that way, learning to parent as being the example that you want to see in your children, to live as a man that you would like your boys to be, and a man that you would like your girls to marry. It's a really hard position, because it requires some brutal honesty, especially with your children, when you have to admit to them that you are not perfect, that whatever little bit of a pedestal they may have placed you up on, you don't deserve to be there, because of all the ways you're human and fallible, and all the ways you've probably screwed them up as young children, and that they'll be telling their therapists in the next 10 or 15 years.
Right. That's what I'm going to make sure, I'm going to do everything to make sure that is not, the case,
it's warts and all. It's that honesty of being able to show them. One thing I never
fucked up, it was being a dad. You know what I mean? This one thing I never fucked up was being a father. And there's no manual that comes with parenting. I'm sorry, I'm in like a little bit of dark right now, but I had to put my phone on the charger.
No, you're fine.
But, there's no manual that came with outcomes of baby. There's no it's not like when you buy a car, you pop open the glove box and there's a manual inside the glove box saying, if this happens or this light comes on, we don't get that as dads or parents or anything like that. If there's one thing I will make sure that I never fuck up, I'll never obviously do it perfect because I don't think it's possible, but the example that I'm going to have set and will set for my children will always be one of courage, love, and hey, Snorri face, come on, man, I'm live right now. That's the one thing I know I'm always going to maybe not do right, but never screw it up bad enough to where I'll regret it. I love my children more than anything. I don't regret anything that I've done, anywhere I've gone, anything I've seen, anything I've done to myself, anything I've said. Just moving forward is the only option that I have. And with this documentary, it's going to really shine the light on everything that involves putting your life in there, for truth.
For truth. The sacrifices that get made in the name of truth.
Yep.
So here's a weird question. No regrets, right? No regrets. I get that.
No regrets, man.
And that's a great lesson. That really is a great lesson. So maybe seemingly weird question. Having no regrets, is there still something you might, for the sake of arguing for argument's sake, is there anything that if you could, you would go back and change? Would you do things different? Not that you regret having done it this specific way, because again, we're no regrets here, but if you could go back in time, are there things that you would do differently? Yeah.
Damn, that's a good question. I'm gonna have to say, and this is hard because I want to say yes. And I could probably, because I'm Irish, we can always argue both sides of the fucking coin.
Yep.
But I want to say yes, but if I had the ability to right now, oh god damn it, nah, I wouldn't because being a believer in Christ and being a believer of and I sin, like, man, I swear, I've just all around, I made mistakes, but I believe everything was already written, and for me to sit here and say I would go back and change something, as much as I like, there probably is things that I would say, well, I would have done this differently, or would have done this differently, or whatever. I can't say that if I had the ability to, that I would.
I don't think I would. I can't, not in the sake of God's name. I can't say that I would change what has already been written, because I wouldn't have learned the lessons that I've learned. And I always said, like, I'll never, ever, ever forget being 38 years old. I'll never forget being 38 years old. It was, out of all the trauma I witnessed as a child, children like can adapt very easily to things, especially trauma, I'll give an example. Like I lost my sister in a car accident when I was about 6 or 7 years old. And I took it very well. She was like one of my best friends. Like, she was 21 at the time. She passed. And, but I took it so good, kids are very, 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 very adaptive to trauma. It's when you start getting into your teens that it really starts to fuck with you. And that's where, like, the worst of mine came from, like, losing my parents and shit like that. And, young adult or, teenage years and stuff like that. But I would not be the person if I could go back and change a death, if I could go back and change a loss of a significant person or anything like that. Hell no, man. I wouldn't change anything, man. No, because then I would just be changing what God already wanted, or already has planned out for me. So,
might as well call them the Berenstain Bears.
Yeah, Berenstein, fucking whatever. But yeah, I wouldn't. No, I would stay. I would be sitting on this couch talking to you is exactly where I'd want to be. Because if I changed anything that may have been horrible in my life, it wasn't such a big lesson learned from it, So.
Yeah, I think if I had the ability to go back in time and do things differently, I probably would. Well, provided I could go back more than once. If it's like a one-shot thing and you go back like, all right, now you either do things different or you do things the same, and we'll see where you end up.
Yeah. Give me a couple shots, and then we'll talk about.
Let me see what happens. Practice a little bit.
Yeah, you got to practice the whole back in time shit. Yeah, that's funny you say it like that. If you gave me a couple shots, maybe, but ultimately, like I'm a it was written type of guy, and I believe that everything God has all of us, exactly where He wants us to be, and you don't want to fuck with that time, you don't want to fuck with that, you don't want to think like that, you don't want to. I think going back and changing things or wishing I could led to my almost my demise, my death. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just living with such regret and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, I got a lot of fucking cool footage, man. I can't wait. I can't wait to actually come alive again and show some of the proofs I got, some of the people I got to meet, the sad truths about third world countries and stuff like that. And I'll know it's all worth it at that point, Mm-hmm. But yeah. Like in my head, I'm just going back. Like it's almost like my head's like an SD card right now, and I can feel the heat of the place. I can see the retakes that I had to do, and I can see the islands I zoomed in on from fucking so far away, and like I can just see all of it, man, and like I can just live it like I have like an SD card in my head, like, and they've been tucked away inside of a P900 bag for like 3 years now, 4 years or whatever, and obviously there's going to be new stuff added to it, you know, to get a better perspective, you know, on what was actually happening at the time before and, you know, after, you know, because there will be another, you know, third part to this that will be coming out after. Hang on one second. Hey, knucklehead.
And
Hey.
that's what's going to be the important one. Again, this
Yep.
right here is the calm before the storm. And as fucked up as the stories we've heard tonight have been, I really think it's going to be the calm before the storm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the bow as it's being drawn back. It puts a lot of stress and a lot of strain on those strings. But once you knock that arrow and loose, man, that bitch is going to go. And I can't wait to see you go rocketing forward with this. I'm excited. I am in awe of you, Brendon. I'm so glad you're still here with us. And
thank you, man.
No, thank you.
And
thank you for everything you've done.
I do want to say to anybody that followed me, you know, that looked to me for answers and stuff like that. If you feel like I've shown a weakness tonight, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? If I feel if I've let you down, I apologize. But if you feel like I've shown a weakness tonight by doing this,
you try it.
Then yeah, you try it. You know what I mean? It's you know, so so any negativity that I get from this, it's only going to show your weaknesses, not mine, you know? So, and I can take the negativity. I've never had a problem with it at all. But like, yeah, if anybody like has been let down, I do feel for that person, you know, if I've let you down, like, I'm sorry, that I didn't stay in the game and fight, even harder than I did, you know. I apologize that if I was that light, you know, that, you know, I didn't mean to let anybody down or disappear or delete accounts and just kind of fall off the map, you know, after I had, you know, done all this hard work. But it took such a toll on me. I didn't know where life was going. And then, you know, post-COVID era, that just put the nail in the fucking coffin, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The fucking mass and then this shit, you know, I you know, like, it was just too much. It was too much, and it's almost like shooting steroids like into like a problem that's already there. It just grew so much faster. And I apologize, you know, for anybody that I let down, you know, and anybody that's, you know, gonna, you know, turn on me or think that I'm weaker for saying the things that I said. First of all, fuck off. You know what I mean? I don't really care. You can, you know, people that there's always people out there that want to see you fall or want to see, you know, something bad happen to you and stuff like that. But like, hey man, I'm here smiling. I got God on my side. I have a light at the end of the tunnel. I got, you know, my health. I got my children. I got everything that I fucking need in life, you know? And everything that anybody ever saw on social media was like good, like new trucks and, you know, nice house and like all this shit. But we're all eating the same fucking shit behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day. You know what I mean? We all have fucking problems. We all have things that we're dealing with. You're not alone. If you feel that you are alone, even what you would consider the best of us is going through the same fucking shit, you know? And so that's like the message I would like people to receive, I guess, out of everything, would be that we're all kind of eating the same fucking shit at the same time, you know? And I'm going to come back. You thought I was strong in 2016, 17, and 18, man. Like, just wait until 2022, 2023. You know, the fight has just begun, man, is the way I'm looking at it. So,
and really, what I'm really taking away from this whole conversation, since you asked me to do this, it's the little girl in the wheelchair who, despite everything else, just smiled.
yeah,
And that's what I see in you. And that's what I absolutely love about this is your positive attitude and your ability to take this adversity and watch as life shits on you and pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Be like, all right, well, I guess I've had enough of this bullshit. Time to get back at it, and do it with a smile and with such a good attitude. It's so inspiring. And that's why I think this is going to be so powerful. But what comes next, I think, is where the metal's going to hit the meat. And I think really exciting things are going to happen for you. And I just want absolutely nothing but the best for you and your children. It's just, I'm amazed. I'm in awe. Thank you so much for coming on here and doing this and letting me be a part of it. I'm honored.
I couldn't have picked anybody. I didn't want anybody else, man. I didn't want any other voice, you know, to be with me, you know, because you know, when I decided to, when it came to fruition about what I had to make this documentary about, you know, the first thing I thought in my head was, I got to go on. I got to talk with Iron Realm. You know, that's the people I want. Because they're all great fucking guys. I mean, your whole squad is just not only intelligent, you know, Zachary, all those guys, everybody, man, they're just fucking amazing fucking people. You know, you got every corner nailed down in that crew, from mathematics to, you know, cymatics to, you know, and all this other shit. And that's another thing, like I released on your show was the cymatics. What are the odds of me being the one person to capture that? And all people could say, I got shitted on for that. I'm like, I just captured something that you're saying was an out of focus camera. And I'm not trying to get sidetracked here, but they go, oh, go making a camera out of focus is a lot easier than making it in focus, especially a zoom camera.
Yep. Go
recreate that. It won't happen. Nobody will ever do that. And it's happened one time, and it was on my fucking P900, and it was in Florida. And I believe that that is the type of stuff when you're putting in such an effort. You know, I think I was down in Florida for the iHeart Radio stuff. And, you know, we all saw how that fucking turned out. It was turned into a fucking war zone. Now I'm the only one that was not fucking yelling. You know what I mean? Like, all the hosts were yelling at each other. And I'm just sitting here going, shit. And they're fucking one became a flat earther, like mid fucking like interview with me. One's like trying to make fun of me. Hey, knucklehead, come on. I'm live right now, bro. Stop snoring. One became like a flat earther mid, like, and one became one after, and one just like wanted to talk shit to me, but then they all started yelling at each other, and I'm just sitting there like, well, at least I didn't pay for my flight down here. Oh wait, I did actually pay for my flight down here, you know, so I'm like, fuck it, like whatever, let them go at it, you know. And I ended up, you know, walking out, and because Mars was available, you know, and when you're in Florida, you get a much better vantage point, I guess, than when you're in like the more northern hemisphere, for certain times a year for like Mars and stuff like that. You can capture way better than you can up here. You know, like we can get the North Star up here a lot better than they can in Florida, and they can get Mars a lot better and like full moons a lot better, you know, closer to the equator and whatnot. And because I've filmed from enough areas where I know what you can get better at, what angles and stuff like that. And Mars was just available, you know, for, I think, I'm not sure if it was like a couple weeks. It was like perfectly there. and it was also a full moon. And I'm walking out, and I stubbed my toe and broke it. And I was live on Facebook at the time. And I didn't say it. Like, I hit my pinky toe on a root, because I was just walking out barefoot to set up my tripod and like get the moon and Mars and stuff like that. And I walked, and man, I jammed my toe into a big root that was coming off of a tree, and snapped the fucking toe. So the whole time that I'm doing the cymatics video that capturing that, I'm like, my toes on, like, it feels like someone was holding like a fucking lighter to it. It was just on fire, man. It hurt so bad. And I didn't realize how broken it was until I actually got inside and actually saw the thing like fucking like snap, you know? And I knew I had broken it, but I didn't know to what extent, you know? So, but I was putting on like a happy face, or a a research face, I guess. I don't know what the fuck you want to call it. Like, while I was capturing that video, but I forgot about Mars. And then it was that girl, April, who's a close friend of mine, who I was packing everything up. I got some good shots of the moon, full moon, whatever. And then she's like, Brendon, don't forget about Mars. And I go, oh, fuck. I'm like, Mars, that's right. And so I kind of like, I didn't use my star finder. I was just using like my brain navigation. I'm like, all right, so that's Mars right there. I can kind of see the color differential, or whatever you want to say. And I zoom in on it, and it's like got this cymatic fucking hole in it. And I'm like, just like absolutely like mind boggled at this, So I'm like, and even my friend, who's like super smart kid, college graduate, it's just a wicked smart kid. He had just woken up to this fucking, flat earth shit. And he was letting me stay with him down in Florida. And he's like, what the fuck is that? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, you can go back and you scroll the footage on Iron Realm. I'm sure you can find the footage.
I'm playing it right now, by the way, as you're speaking.
Oh yeah, there you go, man. There you go. You're playing it. There you go. And all people could say was like, your camera was out of focus. And I'm like, oh, all right, well, recreate that, because that's cymatics. There's literally like sound way. There's more to that. I felt that through the camera. I zoomed in and zoomed out. It's like I don't know how to zoom in on a star. I've been using a P900 for fucking 4 years straight, almost every fucking night, and I don't know how to focus in on a fucking star. Somebody else recreate that, and what's funny is at the end of it, you can see the scar it left inside of Mars. Like it was literally like scarred inside of it. And that got me just thinking about like how powerful whatever's going on up there is. Sound waves, frequencies. It's fucking crazy, man. Like that whole video, I'm not sure where you're at on it.
I'm just replaying it, and it's fading from the cymatics into Mars right now.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can see this.
I give a little example of like cymatics and what sound can do in creating holes through light, and that's why I added that at the beginning, or edited that in at the beginning of the video, was to give an example of what we were actually witnessing, arguably for the first time ever. You know what I mean? Like, I searched far and wide, and nobody's ever captured that before. And my mind just was always up in the fucking clouds after that, like always up at the stars, like always zoom in. You never know what you're gonna catch, And yeah. It was quite the experience, man. It really was. And if April didn't say anything about that, like I give her full credit for because I totally forgot the moon was so big that night. And I was packing it up, and she was just like, no. She's like, I'm live on my phone, and she's like, Mars, don't forget about Mars. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Zoom in, it's fucking there. And I'm like, holy shit. And there was some wild stuff. And then it just closes up inside and like leaves a scar inside of Mars. And it was just, I don't think I'll ever capture that again. I I hope somebody else can get something similar to it so we can have something to compare it to. But it was just funny how I got attacked by that. And they're like, your camera's out of focus. I'm like, dude, go out of,
do it.
Go recreate that. Recreate what I caught. Because that looks just like cymatics to me. That looks like sound frequencies fucking creating a fucking portal or some sort of hole through the fucking light that we see in the fucking sky. You know what I mean? And it was something I felt. Like, it wasn't like I was watching it through the camera. When I zoomed in on that shit was like coming into my soul. Like, I felt that, you know, and you can even hear my friend go, what the hell is that? And I was like, I don't know, dude. And this was probably the 50,000th time I've zoomed in on a fucking star. And you watch the video, I zoom out, I literally clean the lens off and I switched the mode on the camera. I forget which mode I went to, but at the time I could do it without even looking, you know, on the P900. Switch the mode and I zoom right back in, and it was still there. You know, it wasn't something out of focus. It was something happening like on, you know, Mars. And a lot of really intelligent people hit me up and they're like, dude, you got to look into cymatics and this and that and this and that. And I started looking into the shit. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I fucking caught that shit. And it just blew my mind, man. It was such a blessing to be able to witness that live and then be able to share it with everybody, you know?
All right. Nope, you did. You came and shared it on with us and blew us away with it. Still,
yeah, man. A lot of your followers, though, they were like, they kind of like, a lot of them were like about it, and then a lot of them were kind of like, just like, whoa, do you know how to focus your camera? And I'm like, no, I haven't figured that out in 4 years of using it. Just if I could get some help with my P900, you know what I mean?
Right. Take a class.
I know, right? And then, and then the only other thing is that I got some really cool, I'll probably end it on this, would be I went out in Central America in the middle of the fucking jungle to a villa, and there was a lake that I think was, I forget the name of the lake and I forget the length, but it was about 7 to 9 miles at its longest point. And I had a kayak about 6 miles east to get to the longest point of the lake. And then I put the camera, I like wedged the kayak, and then there's fucking anacondas and shit and this fucking stuff. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. One could easily have like wrapped up my kayak and taken me the fuck out. You know what I mean? And so I'm like a little nervous, I guess. This was probably the most afraid I was the entire time that I was in fucking Honduras. I'm talking walking around the murder capital of the world with a fucking $1,000 worth of camera equipment on me. The most scared I was, the only time I actually had fear was when I was perched up on these fucking lily pads that were the size of friggin' like large pizzas. And I'm setting up this, and I'm just like looking at the fucking water. I'm like, man, they got like fucking 30-foot, 20-foot anacondas in this fucking lake. There's like 2 feet of water beside me. Fuck, man, piranha, like whatever the fuck is in these waters. Like, I was just like nervous as fuck. And then I kind of breathed a little bit. And what I mistakenly did was I wore a bathing suit. I took the sun of Central America for granted. And the distance I had to travel to get these shots. So I came back with 3rd-degree burns. I mean, I had to actually tie my shirt around my head to survive, like, because I was so far away, and I put no sunblock on. And that was the second full moon that I had captured out there, was going to be that night. And because of the Mars footage, I was always constantly thinking about the stars. So I go, okay, so I was out in the sun for about 7 hours. I got burnt this bad. I go, if the moon's light is the opposite of the sun's light, then potentially it could have an effect on a sunburn if you lay out in a full moon for that amount of time. So I remember getting a 12-pack of beer. I laid out on these lawn chairs, like, because they had a pool at the villa and stuff like that. And when I'm telling you, like, the middle of the fucking like Central America, I'm talking like the middle of fucking nowhere. It was like 3 hours from where I was staying into the fucking jungle or the mountains and shit like that. And I laid out in the moonlight and to see if the putrefying light would actually have an effect on my, so I didn't put any alloy or anything on the sunburn or anything like that. And the next day I took a picture of before and after, and my burn was like, I had eliminated like 60% of it overnight. And people were telling me that I was using fake legs. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm like, I'm on to something like really fucking cool here. And y'all think I got fakey legs like in fucking the middle of the jungle? Like, yeah, just let me pack up my fucking fake legs before I fucking take my entire family plus cousins I've never even met before to fucking the middle of the fucking jungle for a villa. Let me just pack up my fakey legs so I can do a fucking, you know, so I can burn the shit out of myself and then say I cured it the next day. You know what I mean? And it was just funny, like the attacks I get. And I'm like, man, I'm trying to help you, motherfucker. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I'm on your side, dude. Like, you know, and yeah, it's just that was a cool thing that I've been blessed to discover. Like moonlight will actually like it won't cure your sunburn, but it will naturally, like if you lay out in a full moon, it will have, like, because the sun is full every day, you know. You get the sun's a sun. It's not like you get half suns, you know, quarter suns, you know. It's not like the moon like operates like kind of like charges up and then, you know, charges down with those 8 phases and then 8 phases in reverse. You get a full sun every day. And yeah, it didn't take it away, but it I'd say 60-65% of it was gone overnight. And I was burnt, bro. Like, I was so fucking burnt. It was like very, 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 very bad. But my mind was constantly on the stars, constantly on the moon, constantly on the sun, constantly on shooting across lakes, shooting across oceans, just constantly flat earthing, you know what I mean? And I came up with some creative things, but it also, like, you know, I almost fucking, yeah, I shouldn't be here talking to you, man. I should be dead, you know? But remember that when you get a bad sunburn and there's a full moon that night, trust me, lay out in the full moon. You have to be very patient with your experiment because you have to stay in the light. You have to adjust yourself if you got tree lines or whatever. But it will help your sunburn significantly, like overnight. You just got to have the patience and the wherewithal to sit out in the moonlight for that long, you know, in direct moonlight. It will have like a healing effect on your sunburns. And I got a lot of positivity out of that too, man. A lot of people were like, dude, that's fucking so cool. My friend Veronica, who, you know, worked in some lab, wicked smart, nerdy girl. Like, I'm not nerdy in a bad way, but like really smart. She started sending me all this like ancient like paperwork on like how the moon can be like actually do that type of stuff. So I wasn't like the one to like discover it, but people have like anciently spoke about it, like in ancient times and shit like that. And she was like, you know, sending me all this fucking like documentation. She's like, you're onto something, because I found all this shit up from like, you know, 700-800 years ago. And I'm like, oh shit. And like, so I wasn't alone on it. Like, there was a lot of people that liked the idea, but what are the odds of you getting sunburnt and then having a full moon above you all fucking night with no tree line and stuff? So it's not an easy one to test, right. You know. But that was also something that is in the footage of the documentary. There's a lot to unravel, and I can't wait for it to all be produced. And my friend Vanessa out of Los Angeles, who's maybe going to join us tonight. I know she was, you know, had a friend in town or whatever. And but yeah, she's going to be editing everything. And hey, dude. Am I the only one that can hear him?
No,
right
I
now
can hear
snoring?
him. I can hear him.
Okay. Dude. Hey, come on, man. Do it for the fans, bro. He's like, dude, I'm so tired.
Let's go
yeah,
and wrap this up. Let's talk about Vanessa for a little bit before we do, because I was really hoping we could get her on, because I would really love to hear about what she thinks of this whole story.
Hang on one second here. So she did message me. Let's see here. Do you want to hop on? Sorry that you found out. Oh, I said sorry that you found out so much about me this way. She's probably fucking like horrified right now. She's like, "What the fuck? It's fucking crazy." Where are we? We're on Zoom, right? All right. She hasn't responded to my text yet. So, which is fucking crazy, dude. So, like, I got a text message. Do you need a qualified licensed therapist to start therapy? Visit our secure website at betterhelp.com. Like, what the fuck? Right. I got texted that during this interview, just so you know, dude. Like, I don't know if that's by coincidence or what.
Somebody's
like,
probably putting you on some call lists.
I know. It's like, no, man, the rise. We're already on the rise, dude. Come on, man. Like, she had a friend in town, but yeah, speak away, man. I got enough about her that I'm sure a lot of your viewers probably know who she is. She's kind of one of those like under the radar, like truthers that like a lot of people are friends with, but you know what I mean? People just respect her for who she is, you know. She's a great person.
She is one of my most recent friends here on Facebook. So,
yeah, she had mentioned that you had sent her a friend request, and I told her, you know, follow any, you know, the whole crew at Iron Realm, and so she's probably gonna be sending out friend requests to all you guys. Hopefully, you know, if I didn't tell her, like, please do that. You know, everybody that's involved with this whole, you know, the whole channel and stuff, man, they're all great contacts and stuff. But yeah, we had just been talking, and I have a, like, anybody that's like, and I don't want to use the word nerdy because I don't want to disrespect anybody in a bad way, but I use it in a good way. But she's like just like this like super intelligent, nerdy fucking girl, awesome to talk to, you know, great listener, great talker, just, you know, just smart. And I was like, I'm gonna make this documentary and stuff, and I'm trying to put together a team. I got a narrator, I got a interviewer, I got, you know. And she's like, well, what else you need? And I was like, oh, a film editor. I mean, I could do it myself, but I want like prime time, like good, you know. And she's like, oh, I've been editing films for like 20 years or something like that. I'm like, what? I'm like, and that's what sparked everything to really get going on everything. Like, because I'm like, I got my whole crew now. I'm like, fuck yeah. I was like, I was gonna do the editing myself, but she went to school for the shit, and she can put her own touch on it, which I love to see the best in everybody, you know. You as somebody that runs shows, like, I see the best in you. I feel like you're going to ask the best questions. I feel like if she's editing, she's going to be the best person for the job. I'm not trying to like get like a bunch of people following her, like, because it's her personal page and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But Vanessa's a really, really cool person, and I've got nothing but love for her, and yeah, just big shout out to her. You know, so.
Definitely, I'm going to reach out and see if we can't just get her to come on by herself maybe one of these days, and we'll subject her to the rest of the crew. And
yeah, just pick her brain, man. She's got. Yeah, I mean, she's smart, and she's not like shy nerdy. She's just like she's just all there, man. You know what I mean? Like, and yeah, pick her brain, man. Like I'm always very intrigued by her, you know, and what she has to say and stuff like that. I always have been. I think she followed me like 5-6 years ago. I think we met, and we just were never really like talking about film editing or anything like that until recently and stuff. So, but yeah, she'd be cool to have on. I'm sure. I mean, she's got a lot upstairs. So, definitely a good guess.
Well, excellent. Now I know this has got some legs on it. You told me when you were kind of expecting tentatively to have this next documentary out, and we're talking weeks, not months.
Yeah. It's definitely it's definitely got some legs on it. I feel, because this has been such a rough year for me, one of the hardest ones I've ever had to deal with in my life, maybe the hardest, even with, you know, considering childhood shit. This has probably been the hardest year of my life. And I want to, at the very latest, my birthday, which is February, but I want to start off the new year with this being released in that time frame. I think once we get through like the intro and edit all this in, because this is going to be a part of it and stuff. And once we get past the intro, I think it's just going to be kind of like just sailing, like, what do we want to do next? Because we have all the, you know, the footage at that point, you know, but creating the narrative and creating the, you know, the backbone to the documentary, because like nobody's had a documentary like this. No truthers ever came out like this. And I want to be the first one to be, you know, the chopping block, you know what I mean? Like,
There's a lot to be said there. I think
fucking, you know, whatever you gotta see, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know, I get it as you know, he's got fucking problems, but like at the end of the day, like, you're not fucking perfect, you know? And I think I've accomplished a lot in my work, man. I've tried so hard, you know what I mean? And I don't come off to try and be the most intelligent person. I'm just a person that works hard at truth. And when you work hard at truth, it gets the best and the worst out of you. And I'm not afraid to show the world the both sides of the truth. You know, I can't see any of the other people, not knocking them, but I couldn't see, you know, a certain popular or big truth seeker that's written books or whatever going, this is how fucked up my life got because of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just couldn't see it. So I figured I'd be the first one to do it. So,
and that's what's needed. Not just, I think, for
it's
us,
different.
it's for everybody. If mainstream media, celebrities, everybody else could just learn to fucking be honest and take responsibility for their actions and own their shit, I think the world would be a lot better place. And that's what I love, because that's what you're doing. Taking responsibility for your actions and saying, look, here's where I messed up. Now I'm done. Change that behavior and keep on putting one foot in front of the other, and away I go. And I dig the shit out of that.
Yeah. I know it's going to make some people are going to be happy to see that I went through a lot of pain. That's a personal issue with them. It just shows your weakness if you get any enjoyment out of anything that I've said that was, like, you know, hurtful to myself tonight. It just, you need to look in the mirror and really see that you have a fucking problem, you know, that's a lot worse than somebody who's being honest with themselves, because you're just being dishonest or enjoying, you know, either somebody who believes in what they believe in or knows what they know, having issues. Like, it's just like, who really, you know, somebody had said something to me that really struck gold, and it like, in the back of my head, I'm going like, yeah, but you really don't know the truth, you know? And, you know, I was speaking with somebody, you know, close to me about it, about what I had gone through and stuff. And I remember him going, man, like you, your kids, your wife, you guys were like the flat earth family, man. Like you were like the family of flat earth. You know what I mean? And that hurt, man. It hurt, you know, like that I was that in people's eyes, and to come to where I am now and have to be openly honest about it, it's tough, man. It's tough. You know, I feel like I've let some people down, you know, but I hope I can have the complete opposite effect by showing how you can make it out of some of the worst situations you can possibly be in.
The respect you earn for your children now, they may not appreciate it now, but if by chance they do eventually hear this on the documentary, then when they get older, they are going to be able to appreciate what it is you've done.
Yeah, man, there's not a second. I mean, there's literally not a second that goes by that I'm not thinking about them. You know what I mean? It's just, they are my everything, you know, and if I can set an example, yeah.
Well, you have, for me at the very least. Again, I don't want you to think I've placed you upon some pedestal where if you do something, you're going to disappoint me. But what you have done is set yourself up, not on a pedestal, but in the front.
Yeah.
You are tip of the spear, so to speak. You are the one putting yourself out there as the example, saying, look, own your shit. Don't pretend like you don't make mistakes. Don't pretend like you're not depressed. Don't pretend like you don't have any problems. Own your shit, admit your shit, live in it, and move on.
Yeah.
And that, you provide that example to me, and you make me want to be a better man. I think you will make your children want to be better people. I think that you will serve as an example, not just for us, but for people all over for a good long while. So thank you, Brendon. I really do appreciate everything you've done. I appreciate you coming on and hanging out with me and giving me the chance to sit down and talk to you tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor.
Again, man, there's nobody else. I mean, as soon as I decided to come out with this, there was nobody else that I was going to have. It was Iron Realm, somebody from Iron Realm, and that was it, you know. And I got some offers, from some other people, and it wasn't even on the table. I was just like, no, I'm not doing any type of interviews or anything like that. That was my only response. It was just no, you know. And I want to thank you, man, for the work you put in every week. You know what I mean? Like, I've been cold for so long, but I've been in, like, you know, an area that you've came out of or was in or had similar, you know, situations and stuff. I just happened to be there this year. And I want to, like you said, should be the example that you can not only fight for truth, but put yourself out there, but also own your shit and be cautious of what can happen to yourself, you know, where it can lead to, because it can lead to death, you know. I mean, one kid comes to mind. I think it was Billy Matthews was his name. I'm sure some people in the chat will say we used to talk and stuff, but the kid ended up killing himself. You know what I mean? And to say that truth seeking wasn't some sort of, you know, in some way either helped him or make him more comfortable in doing, or I'm not going to speak on his behalf because he's not longer with us, but he was a truth seeker that took his own life, you know, and that is something I'll carry with me for the rest of my fucking life, because if I didn't make it out of the situation I was in, I would be that burden that people would be carrying, that like, oh, how did we not see this? Why didn't we help him? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I remember I was doing my podcast, and I said to Billy, I was like, hey man, I'm like, why don't you come on as a guest? Because I could just tell, I could feel something was wrong with him. And he's like, nah, man, you don't want me on your show, man. He's like, I'm not built for that. I can't do it, you know, and stuff. And the only reason why I invited him on was solely for the fact that I wanted him to know that he is cared for, because I knew something was seriously wrong with him. You know, there was something not wrong with him, but he was going through something tremendously like tragic, you know, to the point where I invited him on my podcast, and I just wanted him to feel welcome in life. And then within, I think it was a week later, he ended up taking his own life. And it just, you know, going through something similar, but making it out, you know, we owe it to people like him, you know, to do our best in spreading truth and knowledge and staying strong, you know, overall just staying strong, you know, and not letting the world get the best of us, you know, because it got the best of him, and we lost a good person, you know, and you know, yeah, that was a tough one to swallow, you know, and like I said, going through something similar, it just coming out alive and not dead, you know. I hope that my ultimate goal is to inspire people to not go to that length to know that you can make it out of the darkest times of your life, and also achieve, you know, good things at the same time, you know.
Hell yeah.
So,
what a
that's
powerful night, man. I'm gonna have to try to decompress, figure out how I'm gonna get to sleep. Jesus.
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. I got a smile on my face, dude. You know, I'm feeling good, you know.
Same.
I'm feeling good. I got nothing to complain about, man. Just, you know, it's like when you're just going about life, man, and people are like, how you doing? Oh, doing great, man. How you doing? We ain't doing fucking great. You know what I mean? Like, we know he's fucking doing great. You know what I mean? Like, we're just all, you know, whatever Pink Floyd says, you know, lost souls in a fishbowl, you know, like we're all kind of like, you know, in the same situation, especially post COVID bullshit and stuff. And it's all, everything's just a state of mind, man. So I thank you so much for having me on, dude. I feel blessed that you took the opportunity to do this and spend the night with me, and yeah, I hope you don't mind. We're going to be using a lot of this for the documentary, so your voice is going to be in there.
You can use any and all of it. Again, I've done a couple of recordings. We can get Vanessa up to chop it up and get as much of it on the editing room floor as she needs. Anything you need, documentary related or not. I'll shoot you my number over there on Facebook Messenger, and you just stick it in your phone, and really
do
not hesitate to use it. I
will do.
Really try to respond. Walt is probably wondering why I've not tried to respond to him, because I think he was wanting to hop on and was going to come say hi and hang out a little bit, and I'll be damned if I just completely missed his message. So Walter's, sorry, we missed you.
Oh man, that sucks, dude. That would have been great.
Why don't we have you back on one of these Friday nights on I Have No Sphere?
Yeah, man. What I'm thinking is when we complete it, maybe we'll do an Iron Realm release, and we'll actually have you guys release the documentary on your YouTube channel, something like that. So.
Well, we can definitely talk about that. I do not want to steal your thunder. I want this to be all about you, because that's where the fucking money is. Our silly ass little channel is not going to do a whole lot for you, but I think that once you get this out there, this is where I think it's going to change a lot of lives. I think there's a lot of people going to see this, and it's going to redefine what it means to be a flat earther. And it's something that is so desperately needed that I'm really looking forward.
It's definitely needed. And I do want everybody to remember that it is all going to be in the name. I'm killing myself right now for forgetting her name. But the girl with meningitis, I'm going to get all her information. I know the city had helped her out with like something about her living standards or something like that. So I think she did move, but the third part to all of this is going to be me flying actually probably into Guatemala, hopefully, and then crossing into Honduras, and whatever money I can raise, I just want to hand it to her in like cold American cash, like, right to her family and give it to her. So whatever money I can raise with the documentary, I'll pay for my own flight there and stuff like that. I won't use any of the money for myself at all, not even a fucking dime. I'll fly there and I'll get to her, and it's the whole thing. I want it to be dedicated to her, because I want to hold to my promise that I was going to raise something for that family. And the father was so blessed, he's like, thank you. Just kept on thanking me. And in my heart, I'm going, fuck, I got to get this done. And it just sat in the back of my head. So I want everybody that's watching, man, when I set it up, there's going to be something for her, whether it's, a GoFundMe or something, anything I can do. Because if you guys had met this girl, you would be thinking the same thing. You wouldn't hesitate to donate to her, or give something to her. And I will match what everybody else puts in. So if I can raise 2,000, I'll try to put 4,000 in or something like that. You know what I mean? I'll come up with some good idea where I match, whatever I can raise for. But I want to personally go and hug her and give her family the money, like hand to hand, like actually fly back down there and show that I held true to my promise. And I'm gonna get her name. I'm gonna get where she, I know I know what city she's in and stuff like that. But I need her full name and everything like that. If I could pull up the SD cards and stuff and get it. We're talking, I really feel ashamed that I forgot her name, because like her face is like, and her soul is like stuck with me, for so long. But everything's going to be dedicated to her.
That's right. Vanessa can cut this out and she can put the name in post. It'll be fine. Yeah.
We'll get it. We'll get everything. And yeah, man, just, hey, I love you, man. Thank you for having me on, man. Thanks to everybody for watching, and I hope everybody's looking forward to what we're gonna put out there. Okay.
I love you too. And thanks for having the bravery and the balls to come on here and expose your vulnerabilities to us all.
Yeah, it's nothing. No big deal.
And I get it. And for some of us, it might not be, especially after you've practiced it a while and you learn to do it comfortably. But again, anybody that wants to come on and talk shit, let's see you get on a fucking internet YouTube live show and just start spilling out all kinds of bad shit about you wouldn't really want people to know. But it's important that they understand.
I guarantee none of them would fight me. That's for sure. You know what I mean? So if somebody wants to talk shit, talk your shit, man. I don't care. You're not in my town. You're not, near me. You're not, whatever, if you find yourself feeling happy about somebody else's joy, or somebody else's like, fall or rise or whatever, it's like you gotta realize that I'm past that. I already beat that, I already won that part of life. So it don't matter. I'm a stronger person because of it. And so it wasn't really hard to share it. Because I know it's what I have to do, and getting it off my chest was helpful right now. And it will be helpful in guiding us in the production of the documentary. And then plus all the cool footage we have of flat earth proof and shit like that, you know, like, it's not just like one sob story, man. Like, we got some really, or I got some, I mean, I did all the filming myself, but aside from my wife doing some of the filming too, you know, God bless her. She held the camera a few times. But there's some really cool flat earth stuff in there, man. That's why I was down there. So for anybody that's thinking it's just going to be some, you know, sob fest for an hour long, whatever, it's not, you know what I mean? It's going to be the roller coaster, man. It's going to have it all. So I hope people are excited for it.
I know I am, and we will talk it up, and we'll make sure they get excited. And I do want to take just a half a tick while we're here to thank Emma for all the support that she has given Brendon over these years. It takes such a strong lady to be able to support such a strong man. And it really does say a lot about you that you were able to do it for as long as you could. And I understand the need for a separation. Shit ain't permanent. Shit ain't permanent. Just remember that's,
Yep.
I'd like to gonna talk shit.
I'd like to also thank her too, man. I'd like to, you know, thank her. She's probably watching, actually. I don't know, man. Like, I just have a feeling like she somehow is watching or something. But I got nothing but the sincerest love and everything for her. And I would be there in a heartbeat if you know, if anything ever was needed, you know. And she's a very strong-willed person, and I don't think any of this would have been possible, and none of it would have been possible without her. So anything good that comes out of this, she was the backbone to everything that I was able to do. So nothing but, you know, love and respect, you know. Whereas in most people in this situation would have like hate, or if, you know, fuck her, or what, you know, what if, you know, she, you know, she's horrible, you know, they look at the negative things, you know what I mean? And it's like, nah, man, like she made so much possible for me, and yeah, like nothing but love for her, and I'm sure we're going to get this all sorted out and worked out so that we are both the best parents that we can possibly be, and that we don't leave any stone unturned, you know, that isn't positive, you know. And so, yeah, I appreciate you saying that, man. I really do. No, I do.
You guys are awesome. Brendon, thank you so much for coming to hang out here on the Iron Realm Media surprise Sunday night show. It's I told our audience that they needed to go ahead and make sure they were still subscribed and make sure they'd hit that bell notification, because we were going to have something coming up in the very near future that they wouldn't want to miss. And again, I wasn't expecting it to be this fast. I wasn't expecting everything to just go, but yeah, you got her done. So thank you. Guys, have a great rest of your weekend, a great rest of your Sunday night. We will see you right back here on this channel on Tuesday morning for an exciting episode of the Ironworks on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. We're going to have some really special guests on that show too, so be sure you come join us right back here. All right, guys, be good, be well, do better.
Stay flat. Stay flat.
Stay flat.
Love you guys. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.